girl from Senegal. She come back to daddy when I Senegal. Daddy at the general. Half the pity lawyer just to stay out the federal. Big man pull up like a senegal. Big gold chain on the neck, me of several. Made the girl hyper. Half is settled down. Ginseng roof for the second round. Knock out in the girl. Rubber man take a guy.
Different level thing.
We don't gotta talk, we can dance right now. Body got me in a trance right now. You don't need a time, put your drink down. Move your body right now.
A lot, not a little, plenty. My quartz crystals never empty. Duffy no knots that fret me. Bitter like root tea, I'll use whatever works like Bruce Lee. You only need a little like Tootsie. Baby had a biggie, it was juicy. I like it really weird like kooky. I switch my style up every year, it's a new me. You thought you knew me, let me introduce me.
I'm getting.
Yo. I said, hey, yo, this is disagreeable. I'm disagreeable. We are disagreeable. This is another episode, you know. Things are happening in the world. To be honest, I'm not very motivated. I'm not very moved by them. But I'm sure once this coffee gets my system, I'll have opinions. Hit the like button. Engage in the channel, you know, do all that stuff. I don't really have warm-up clips like that, but I got a little something I could pull up. Let me see. Some of the little warm-up clips just to let people get into the room. You know, we like to start out lighthearted around here. You feel me? You know, we like to start it out lighthearted around here. You feel me? So let me do this. We got some people in here already. What's good, Magical Family? What's good, Iota? Hold up. I'm gonna let some people get in the room before we get into the show, you know? We got Magical Family, we got Iota. Hit the like button now. Hit the like button, everybody. You feel me? Let's go. Let's make it loud. Let's do that. Cool.
Today, a woman in jail accused of killing her own husband, and she apparently told detectives that she did it because she was, quote, at her wit's end over infidelity issues. Local 10's crime specialist Bridget Matter live now outside the jail where she's being held with the details. Bridget.
Calvin, this is all according to new court records. It says that this woman told detectives she found out her husband was cheating on her, so she killed him. And the report says after a heated argument, that's when those shots went off, and this woman is now in jail on no bond. 45-year-old Denise Malcolm is facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of her husband, Rowan.
God damn. Imagine being deleted by this predator. Like, what the hell? Yo, this propaganda? Yo, somebody tell me, am I bugging? Does the left eye got the reptilian eye, yo? Yo, does the left eye got the... Yo, does that left eye got the reptilian eye, dog? This might be propaganda. This might be propaganda.
Malcolm. A lengthy arrest affidavit lays out that Denise was, quote, at her wit's end with his lies and deceit over allegations her husband was cheating.
You know what? It might be real because he does, even with the reptilian eyes from the inner earth, it still looks like she still looks somebody who had their wits end. If you had to write out a meaning at wits end and put a picture, I think this would be a suitable picture.
Following a 45-minute fight, police say Malcolm shot her husband multiple times.
The officers made entry into the residence to check on the well-being of anybody who may be inside. They did come across and encounter one male individual who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds.
Malcolm appeared in court.
Ms. Malcolm, you are here on one count of premeditated murder.
The report goes on to say that Malcolm had contemplated suicide, but as her...
All right, enough of that. It is what it is. Y'all hang out with me for a second. Let me get this coffee in my system. We got Iota. Iota says, your definition of lighthearted is bullshit. We keep it light. We keep it light, man. I don't got time to get into heavy things. So, let's get another warm-up clip before we get into, because I heard the incident that happened with our dear former president. Pray for President Trump, dog. I heard about the incident earlier. I don't have much information. I just heard a little bit what I heard on Ty City Show. Supposedly there was another attempt to more propaganda. So we're gonna get into that, and I don't know shit. So we'll have fun with that. But let's get a couple more minutes of warm up clips before we get into the good shit. And let me know in the chat, dog, because you know me, I don't give a fuck. I'm just clout chasing. I don't care about politics. I don't care about the political theater. I don't care about none of that shit. We can go straight into auto suggestion and make this show very boring quickly. We go straight into auto suggestion because that's what I want to talk about: self hypnosis and auto suggestion. But give me 2 seconds to get this up here. Give me 2 seconds. You know this show's not organized. You know this show's not organized. So let's give it a couple more minutes for people to get up in here and let me know in the chat. Do you want to look at this? Do you want to analyze and do our metaphysical third eye break, our metaphysical third eye breakdown of the spinning of the block on Trump? Do we want to go into that, or do we want to go into the auto suggestion and get into like deeper subjects? Pause. Let's get this up here. Let's see what this is about.
9th, 2023. A woman attempted to purchase a $1,300 laptop from Best Buy using someone else's identity. Police were called when the woman tried to leave the store. Although the woman claimed that the ID she used wasn't hers, the officer remained suspicious, as the photo on the ID resembled her. During the investigation, the woman also stated that 2 men in the store were not associated with her, even though one of them had asked for her phone number. The officer continued to interrogate her to uncover the truth.
I don't know what the truth is. This might be interesting, guys. Let's go. If you don't get your ass in the fucking store, you fat nigga. Look at him.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Do you have an ID on you? They think you're using fraudulent identification.
Yeah, before we get all the way into this, yo, guys, what we doing with this? What we doing with this? What we doing with this? I'm not saying she's bad, but I'm saying it looks like fun.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Do you have an ID on you? They think you're using fraudulent identification. to
No, I
purchase
don't.
stuff.
I don't have no idea on me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, can we just move out of the way
Let's
so we can...
go stand over here.
I'm here, please.
Was there somebody with the car online?
Where'd you get this ID from?
That's not me in the ID.
Huh?
That's not me.
That's not you?
No.
Looks like you.
That's not me.
That looks like you.
That does not look like me.
It's a shame, dog. Why are you out here trying to steal from Best Buy when you could be selling box at 1,000,000 miles per hour? Because this girl right here, this round-faced bitch right here, could run up literal millions of dollars. You feel me?
Mac?
Windows this time.
Windows?
Yeah. The two other guys that came with her.
I didn't come with that guy. Was asking me for my number actually, and I was trying to move.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
I'm not talking to you. So
You said two other guys.
What the cameras?
There was one guy there
they-
following me,
they all
asking
came
for
from
my
the same
number.
Okay, that's my partner.
Yeah.
You're good.
Can we move from away from the entrance?
Yeah, you're gonna walk with my partner.
Okay.
You might talking to her over there.
And I want him to get to the point. You see, the white boy is sort of kind of antagonistic.
And suspected of fraud. The woman explained that a stranger approached her in the store and asked for her phone number, but she declined because she had a boyfriend. She felt the officer mistakenly believed she was conspiring with the man. The woman also emphasized that she was only browsing laptops and did not attempt to open a credit card or provide identification for the purchase. She claimed she was from New York and was on vacation. The officer asked the woman to wait while they continued the investigation.
What's going on?
No, he's saying that I was doing fraud with another guy, but I walked in, right? I'm sorry, the sun is in my face.
Let's go over this way just so we don't get the sun in your eyes.
While I was waiting.
I'm definitely hitting this thick, racially ambiguous or Latina or something. She probably some type of Ecan or Inican, Dominican or some shit like that. You feel me? I could tell she go crazy. You feel me? I could tell she go crazy. We already know she's stealing. We don't gotta really pay attention to the laptop. That was about it. This seems like it's gonna take a twist. Let's see what happens.
I asked for the information. He gave me all the information.
Okay, did you like provide an ID at that point? Like,
No.
here's my credentials.
No,
You did not?
no. I was gonna try to purchase a laptop depending on the price of it.
Sure.
And he just said, okay. He got the laptop, went back there, and never came back.
Okay.
And then when he came
what
back-
laptop are you looking to buy?
He is a Surface Pro water and another.
Surface?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's why we're here. So
Okay.
we got to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
And then barring whatever, like I said, we just got here, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So what time did you get here? Do you know about?
No.
30, 40 minutes ago? 10, 20 minutes ago? It's
Stop confirming shit. If you know you over there doing all types of nefarious acts, just don't say nothing. Because if they had enough to put you in the car right now, they put your ass in the car. They won't be here to ask you questions, or maybe they see you're dumb. You're just gonna incriminate yourself and say things that are contrary to the camera.
Yes.
Do you have a middle initial, Jeanette?
No. I don't know because I'm here for vacation.
Oh, where are you from?
I'm from New York
Oh, okay.
originally. Yeah. Can I answer? Because I had left the Uber and I had like 2 addresses so he could take me back.
You were the Uber?
Yeah, but he left. So.
Okay.
he
Yeah,
was
just let him know
calling
it's going to
me.
be a minute.
All right, give me 1 second.
Okay. Just stay over here, though.
Okay.
The woman explained to the officer that she came to the store just to inquire about laptop prices. An employee had helped her, but then left and didn't return. While waiting, a dark-skinned man with dreadlocks approached her and asked for her phone number.
I did not approach this bitch and ask for her phone number. You feel me? I'm not in on this caper.
But she declined because she had a boyfriend. As she was planning to leave the store, the officer arrived and stopped her. The woman insisted that she didn't know the man and wasn't involved in any incident.
Oh, my bad. I'm rolling a joint, but you know, I want to breeze through this. But you know, she looked a little thick right there. Let's see that again.
Insisted that she didn't know the man and wasn't involved in any incident.
Hello.
12-5.
No, ya te jodido. Deme llamar el Uber driver.
Can you run a name DOB, please?
Because the Uber was calling me before he left.
So you walked in trying to buy a laptop.
I was asking for the price, right? And
So they came up to you. You're like, you're interested in this laptop. The employee.
oh yeah.
They went to the
I
back.
asked them-
They never came back.
Yeah, he went to the back.
And then you went up to the line.
What line? No, I was there the whole time.
Oh,
in front
where?
of the register.
Right over here.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was asking where did he go, to the other employees, and he said he was trying to get something from a printer to work or something like that. And then when he came back, I was about to walk out, and then right before I was about to walk out, he ran behind me, and the officer came in.
Okay. What about these guys?
All these goddamn questions. I want this shit to take the turn already, dog. You know, this is the bad part about like not planning a show, because I don't know what the hell's going on. Hold up, my bad. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, he had like braids.
Like dreads?
Dreads or braids, I don't know, and a hat.
Did he have anything else, like tattoos?
No, I didn't notice.
What was he wearing?
I swear, I wasn't even trying to look at him because I didn't want no eye contact with him, but he was like literally right behind me.
Okay.
I was right where the TV is curved, that's where
The woman repeatedly explained that after the store employee left, a stranger approached her and asked for her phone number and social media, but she declined. She insisted she didn't know the man. The woman arrived at the store after checking out from a local hotel. When the officer checked her identity, they couldn't find a matching address record, causing confusion. The woman insisted she lived in New York and had no legal issues, assuring that all the information she provided was accurate. The officer decided to wait for their colleague to continue the investigation.
he said, before you go back to the guy, because he was helping me, then he left and he was like, before you go to the other guy, can I have your phone number or your social media? And I said, no, that I didn't have social media, and I couldn't give him my number.
Okay.
But I don't know him at all.
Okay. How'd you get here today?
In an Uber.
I have a feeling this shit's about to go left.
Like out the hotel.
Where were you staying?
And
Try to New York, please.
it was the I have to check my email.
we found one.
Sorry, miss. Did you say no record in both?
Yeah, no record, New York and Illinois.
Okay.
No.
Are you out of New York?
If I'm out of New
Like,
York,
do you live in New York?
Yes, I
That's
do.
where your driver's license is out of.
Yeah.
Your government ID.
Yes, from New York. My birthday, yes.
Okay, because we're not getting anything back on there, which means that you don't exist.
I never been arrested. How I don't exist?
No, I'm talking about like your driver's license.
Oh,
So that
yes.
means
No,
you're-
yes.
Yo, Halo. I mean, Magical Family, 100%. Like, she participated in her own investigation. You fucking idiot. Like, yo, where your ID is and what state you're from, that's just none of these niggas' business, dog. You're not obligated to talk to the police. You feel me? You be feeling scared. Nigga, don't say nothing. If they're gonna tighten your ass up, they're gonna tighten your ass up.
I've never been arrested or anything.
No? Okay.
When I was in middle school for fighting and stuff like that, but not.
No, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
How long you live in New York?
Oh, you know, she was fighting in middle school. You know, she got a firebox.
New York. Nothing out of Illinois, but New York, you just have a bit clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, like I said, we'll wait for him to come over and then see what's going on here. All right.
The woman revealed.
Oh, we got Iota. Iota says, I thought these hood ass Latinas from NY were better than this. I think they are better than this. Yo, it's just gonna happen, dog. When you're in the underworld, it's just gonna happen. They were over there thinking they were coolin'. They checked out of the hotel and they stopped by there to go bust a move and they were gonna book it out of town. You feel me? And it's not going to plan.
That she works at a club and frequently moves from city to city, staying in.
She works at a club and frequently moves from city to city. And she's shaking them. Come on, let's go, dog. Let's go.
In hotels. This was her first visit to Chicago, solely for work, and she didn't plan to stay long. She hoped there were.
She went to go scam in Chicago. Niggas out there are scamming at 1,000 miles per hour. They're definitely trying to be on your ass. Let's go, dog.
Camera recordings that could prove she wasn't connected to the man who approached her. She explained that she was just trying to make money to pay bills, had no flight plans back to New York, and had 2 kids, making her situation difficult. The woman insisted she came to Chicago for work and to look at laptops, but didn't make a purchase or provide identification in the store.
I don't know if I missed it. Where'd you say you were staying?
I just check out, so I'm not gonna.
Stop telling people. Let's go. My bad. We about to finish this and get into some nonsense.
I come here and work like at the strip clubs and stuff like that. And
Yeah, no worries.
I do that like sometimes in different states or,
Okay.
you know. But
Were you staying in the city or were you staying on a suburb?
what here?
Yeah, like were you staying in Chicago or were you staying in
Yeah.
Chicago?
And then I just go like every time I work at a club, I go to a next club the next day and stay at a near hotel from there or Airbnbs and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So do you come for like extended, like a couple
No.
of weeks or just a couple days? Or?
No, this is my first time here in Chicago for
Okay.
that.
All right.
I prayed and it has sound, like,
Sure.
seriously.
Yeah, I don't know if they have like audio. I don't know how the cameras work here, to be honest.
I hope if they do, so at least just so he could feel stupid, because I would understand, but we definitely didn't look like we was together.
Sure.
But maybe because he saw him with his phone in his hand trying to talk to me, maybe he, I don't know who was that.
Yeah, you know how it goes when you're watching something from kind of a distance. You can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah.
Yo, what if they let the bitch go at the end? You feel me? I'm here waiting for a crazy twist or turn or something. What if they just let the bitch go?
When are you heading back to New York?
I was just trying to make money to pay my freaking bills, and then I didn't even have like flight or anything to leave yet.
No shit.
So just going through a hard time, and I have kids and bills and.
How many kids?
Two.
Of course, you got kids and bills.
Huh?
This is Jeanette.
Hey, Jeanette, what brought you in today?
So I just came out here because, like I was telling you, I dance at strip clubs and then from city to city, and then I came in.
Let me take that back. Hold up. What we doing with this? Shaka, you just showed up. So Shaka.
Hey, Jeanette, what brought you in today?
So I just came out here because, like I was telling you.
What we doing, Shaka? Oh yeah, Shaka already answered. Huh. I'm trying to scam to make some dough. It is what it is, man. God bless her.
I dance at strip clubs and then from city to city.
Yo, all I can tell is her shit's hidden like crazy though. I'm gonna say that though. Yeah, she's a thief. Yeah, she's a whore and a stripper. Yeah, she's probably evil. Yeah, she probably drugs and sets up men to be licks and plays. But that pussy hidden though.
And then I came in. I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to get a laptop, but I didn't even purchase anything. I didn't get anything.
The woman was given an ID that didn't match her identity. The officer detained her on charges of possessing a fake ID. The woman claimed she had left her bag and asked to contact her mother, which the officer allowed if done through the police department. After ensuring she had no dangerous items, the woman was taken in for further processing.
Okay, well, did you give him anything up there?
The ID.
You gave him the ID?
Yeah.
And it's not you, clearly?
It's not me. It's
Hold up, did I just watch this whole video just to figure out that it didn't go crazy? She didn't get fucking put in a figure four or ankle lock or a triangle choke or anything like that. They just talked to a thick bitch for a while and then arrested her? Thick bitches get arrested every goddamn day. Hold up, man. My bad for trying to do a YouTube show and all that. That's facts, Magical Family. I was thinking about that the whole time. You feel me? She needs a pee. You could be the leanest burger in the world. Could be the meanest burger in the world if you cook it that way. You know what? Iota's only one who answered. So you know what? I'm getting into the boring shit. It is what it is. We're not gonna talk about Trump right now. We might talk about him later, but I don't really care about it. I know it's fake. Let me get this up. You know we're freestyling. Because I got the book that I can get into real quick, but I don't think you're ready for that. I don't think you're ready for that level of boredom. Give me 2 seconds. This is probably a good one right here. I could freestyle it. It's 15 minutes. Yeah, let's freestyle it off this. Give me a second. Maybe they'll hit me. Maybe they'll hit me off the TED Talks. Yeah, I saw your comment. You didn't hear me say that. My bad. I saw your comment. I said that. I said Shaka already said what he'd do. He said he'd give her a sick duck or something like that. Wait. No. He tell her to give a duck sick. You feel me? Hold on. Let's get this up here. This is old. Hopefully they don't give me a strike or anything like that. And we'll see if it's any good. Because if it's not giving a nice like explanation of it, I'm just gonna break the book out. So let's go.
Talk about cars. I'm sorry. The auto here means yourself. Yourself. Slightly more complicated than a car. I have a book by a man called Émile Coué. It's called Self-Mastery Through Conscious Auto-Suggestion. Inspired and helped crystallize a lot of ideas for me when I was writing a play called An Oak Tree. This is my copy. The book was first published in 1922. This is a 1932 English language edition. The book is still in print today. This is Émile here on the front. Émile Coué was a French psychologist and pharmacist who introduced a system of self-improvement based on auto-suggestion. He was the author of the mantra, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. He facilitated the healing of the sick by getting them to think that they were well. He never claimed he cured them, but that they cured themselves. On the title page of this book are the words, our actions spring not from our will, but from our imagination. The book contains lots of testimonials from people who claim to have been cured by Monsieur Coué's method. Coué talks about the imagination, he talks about the will. He says there is an absolute rule that admits no exception. The will always yields to the imagination. He writes about the conscious self and the subconscious self. The subconscious self is where the imagination resides. If we can control the subconscious, he says, then we can release the influence of the imagination on the moral and physical being of mankind, who is always very modest in his claims. There's no materiality to Coué's practice, no surgical or pharmaceutical interventions. There is only a set of conceptual suppositions that in turn have a material consequence. In Coué's case, the consequence is better health. He says every one of our thoughts, good or bad, becomes concrete, materializes, becomes, in short, a reality. The lever for this process of transformation from thought into matter is the suggestion. Coué defines the suggestion as the act of imposing an idea on the brain of another. Here's an example of a suggestion becoming reality. It's the epigraph to Timberlake Wertenbaker's play, Our Country's Good. It's a quote from a 1968 book called Pygmalion in the Classroom by Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson. 20% of the children in a certain elementary school were reported to their teachers as showing unusual potential for intellectual growth.
Before I go any further right here, I just want to say, like, what I'm getting out of this right here is, to put it simply, it makes sense logically. Like, what you suppose about yourself is who you are. What you suppose about yourself is who you are, because what you suppose about yourself, I guess, is like rooted in your imagination and what you're thinking. What you're thinking will lead into the actions. Nothing happens, no action happens before thought. So, it might seem silly, but if you look at it logically, step by step, yeah. Supposing things about yourself will, in turn, make you move into action. You're going to move into direction to fulfill these suppositions. Uncertainties that could be made concrete.
The names of these 20% of the children were drawn out of a hat. 8 months later, these unusual or magic children showed significantly greater gains in IQ than did the remaining children who had not been singled out for the teacher's attention. The change in the teacher's expectations regarding the intellectual performance of these allegedly special children had led to an actual change in the intellectual performance of this randomly selected group, who were also described as more interesting, as showing greater intellectual curiosity, and as happier. So the teachers were given the suggestion that these children had unusual potential. The children received the suggestion that they had unusual potential. Suggestion is conscious. It's an act of will demonstrated by how we act or what we say. With an auto-suggestion, however, Coué defines it as the act of implanting an idea in oneself by oneself. An auto-suggestion is subconscious. It's an act of the imagination. It's an auto-suggestion that will enable the child to finally recognize their suggested potential.
Let me know in the chat if you're following along to this, because I'll run that story of the classroom back again if necessary, because that's very significant.
We teach through suggestion, and we learn through auto-suggestion. The first play that I wrote was a play called My Arm, and it's an autobiographical piece about me living with one arm above my head until I die. It's told very simply in the first person, like I'm talking to you now. At no point in the telling of that story do I ever actually raise my arm above my head. A couple of years ago, I met a woman who had seen me perform the play a few years before, and she'd had a question that she always wanted to ask me. Didn't it hurt, she asked, you having your arm above your head during the show? Didn't that hurt? In the history of that show, I have never raised my arm above my head. In performance, I suggest that that's my situation. But it was this woman's subconscious who had authored an auto-suggestion that I'd actually done so, that I physically did, that she had seen it. As Coué insists, the will always yields to the imagination. The subconscious is stronger than the conscious. It can rewrite what we're shown. As artists, I think we need to consider the subconscious, or at least play to its ability to see things that aren't there. I don't mean hallucinations or optical illusions, but I mean seeing things not with the eye, I suppose, not with the retina, but seeing things in here, in the mind. The stuff that the artist Marcel Duchamp described as anti-retinal. Anti-retinal art, co-authored between the artist and the audience's mind. Let's make art that is at the service of the mind.
My bad, I want to get that word again. You know, new words, like to get them. Anti-retinal art, that's what you said? Let me get that again, my bad.
Duchamp described as anti-retinal. Anti-retinal art, co-authored between the artist and the audience's mind. Let's make art that is at the service of the mind. The stuff seen in here lasts longer, maybe, certainly has a more profound effect. This is the site of theatre. What happens on stage is secondary to what happens in here, I think. No amount of forceful imposition of the will, of a suggestion, can achieve a result without the subject's subconscious being ready to receive it. I can stand on stage and tell you that I'm Hamlet. I can be dressed like a moody prince. The stage can be made to look like a castle, but unless your subconscious receives my suggestion and authors a corresponding auto-suggestion, then I'm just a man in a room wearing someone else's clothes and talking someone else's lines. The active principle of artistic transformation resides in us, the audience, and not them, the performer. Much attention is paid to helping an audience connect with its subconscious. Theatres are designed to make us as unaware of our physical selves as possible. We're placed in the dark, in comfortable conditions, focused away from our fellow audience members. But I think the process is more robust than that. I think the leap between conscious to subconscious, from suggestion to auto-suggestion, is much more effortlessly achieved, and often with the most simple of requests, the most obvious of contracts. Think of a storyteller. Think how little they need. Talk of the
simple requests, the most obvious of contracts. That's very interesting. Like when it comes to hypnosis and interactions with people in general. Like the simplest requests, contracts. He's basically inferring that you're entering contracts with people all the time when you're speaking to them. You know? So if you're not aware of this, that's how you're susceptible to it, you know? Especially after I read the obvious, like 48 Laws of Power, Art of Seduction, all that shit. But also like how to the book sitting right there. What's it called? Give me one second. Yeah. Get anyone to do anything. Get anyone to do anything. And also, I don't see where it's sitting right now, but I know I have another one. How to make friends and influence people or some shit like that. I think I read that book before. And the one thing about it, especially with the 48 Laws of Power and shit like that, you become really jaded and sickened by people. You become really jaded and sickened by people because, especially people who you see trying to implement this shit on you. You know what I'm saying? But let me say this: it's effective. It's very effective. Hold on. Suggestion to auto suggestion. Let's do that. We moved into this zone of the show. It is what it is. Hit the like button on your way out. I know you're not feeling this, but yeah, we're gonna pull up Magical Families Club. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. It'll take a second for this chat to load. Oh, loaded pretty quick. All right. Give me 2 seconds. We're getting it together. Hold on. Yes, this might be a great example. You know, let me know if I need to drop the link again if you want to come up here and give any analysis on this. But I'm going to pull it up right now. Top screen. Share screen. Boom, boom. It's from a movie, so I hope it doesn't get me taken out of here. I feel like I've never seen this movie, but maybe you showed me this before, Halo, or maybe I'm having a false memory. Who knows? Hold on, we got Ioti. He says, "Dude, I'm jaded than a motherfucker. This shit tired as fuck." I'm telling you, it's corny, man. It's corny, man. But I'm telling you, that shit's very effective. There was a point in time, like I've read all these books like multiple times, but specifically, I read the 48 Laws of Power like 2 or 3 times maybe before I read it and implemented it. So I just read it as like a story, as historical antidotes and shit like that, and then read it again, I just like the book. It's interesting. I like the stories. But let me not get into that. But the last time I read it, I implemented it. Everybody knows what implement means. And it works very, very well. Especially if you combine like the soft art with the pause, the hard art, you feel me, with the seduction, with the laws of power and shit. It's very effective. It's very effective. But here's the thing. I guess if you're like a narcissist or a psychopath, it's very good for you, and you'll dig into it and then like just love it. But to me, once I realize that most people are just little buttons I can push, and that I can get results out of you by pushing buttons, it made me kind of disgusted by life in general. Just made me kind of disgusted by this whole thing that we're in, you know. But yeah, hold on. Let me drop this link one more time. See if Halo wants to come up and get in on this clip. But I'm gonna play it because we'll probably run it back more than once because Halo says suggestion to auto suggestion. So let's go.
You get up $2.5 million. Any asshole in the world knows what to do. You get a house with a 25-year roof, an indestructible Jap economy shitbox. You put the rest into the system at 3 to 5% to pay your taxes, and that's your base. Get me? That's your fortress of fucking solitude. And that puts you for the rest of your life at a level of fuck you. Somebody wants you to do something? Fuck you. Boss pisses you off? Fuck you. Own your house. Have a couple bucks in the bank. Don't drink. That's all I have to say to anybody at any social level. Did your grandfather take risks?
Yes.
I guarantee he did it from a position of fuck you. A wise man's life is based around fuck you. The United States of America is based on fuck you. You're a king? You have an army? Greatest navy in the history of the world? Fuck you, blow me. We'll fuck it up ourselves. Which we have done. Beautiful fuck you position, lost forever. King George III looks like a fucking birthday present. This is the grandson of the 17th richest man in California.
Does he drink?
What he wants?
Keep it real. I'm gonna have to run it back because I had to go take a piss. It is what it is, and I want to get into this. So Halo's probably busy, but we're gonna pick this up from. So Halo prompted this clip with suggestion to auto suggestion. So keep that in mind as we watch this. Let's get it.
You get up $2.5 million. Any asshole in the world knows what to do. You get a house with a 25-year roof, an indestructible Jap economy shitbox. You put the rest into the system at 3 to 5% to pay your taxes, and that's your base. Get me? That's your fortress of fucking solitude. That puts you for the rest of your life at a level of fuck you. Somebody wants you to do something? Fuck you. Boss pisses you off? Fuck you. Own your house. Have a couple bucks in the bank. Don't drink. That's all I have to say to anybody at any social level. Did your grandfather take risks?
Yes.
I guarantee he did it from a position of fuck you. A wise man's life is based around fuck you. The United States of America is based on fuck you. You're a king? You have an army? Greatest navy in the history of the world? Fuck you, blow me. We'll fuck it up ourselves. Which we have done. Beautiful fuck you position, lost forever. King George III looks like a fucking birthday present. This is the grandson of the 17th richest man in California.
Does he drink?
What he wants is money, because he doesn't know when to say that's it. I'm $2 million ahead, fuck it, fuck you. I have a car and a house and a family, and it's all paid for, fuck you.
I mean, even I did that. Wants to stop by Peter Blossom.
I'll have a beer just like anybody else, thank you.
What kind?
Any kind.
I got 37 beers. Don't fucking put it on me.
But he did put it on you, miss. You still owe Large 2 places you shouldn't. Why do you want door number 3?
How else do I get out?
Time payment. Sell your sperm, sell your ass. How the fuck should I know? I am of the universe, and you know what it's worth.
It's worth plenty.
If I give you this money and you don't pay me back, there are no rules. You never get to say fuck you to anybody ever. You will get me not just what you owe me from your family, you will get me their accounts so I can have them vacuum from Russia. You jump off a bridge, you can do it knowing I will kill your entire bloodline. Do you understand the gravity of your situation?
I understand.
You get up, you get out. 260 is requested.
What's this?
This much money, what's a car? What do you want to be able to say to me?
Fuck you.
Kind of fire. Kind of fire. Hold up. Excuse me, I got a call. Excuse me. Yeah, coffee always makes me feel like this. And I didn't even put any like cream pause or any milk in it or anything. Like still like got me feeling like weird. This was a good movie. Man, maybe I'll check it out. I stopped paying attention to everything so many years ago. But if it's worth watching, maybe I'll take a look at it. But that was very interesting in how A Magical Family said suggestion to auto suggestion. Suggestion to auto suggestion. And that was dope. That was dope. I'm just thinking further the implications of that. I know, I know dead air isn't good for the show and shit, but I'm like really rolling around the implications of that style of induction to suggestion, to auto suggestion. You feel me? That, you know, maybe I'm just a nerd. Who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah, give me 2 seconds. We're gonna stay on this road because I really planned on making this a super boring show and just reading from the book, which I could right now, but we're gonna do this. Yeah, you know, we're freestyling. Let's find something else to jump into. Man, hit the like button for me, yo. Hit the like button for me. Give me 2 seconds. Here's the thing, like, when you start researching hypnosis and things, it's always like a whole bunch of women talking and explaining this, and it makes you think that it did some woo woo whatever shit. When the greatest hypnotists and the mesmerizers or whatever of all time were men. You feel me? But in this modern depiction, it's some new agey shit that wasn't like what you need to understand is that science was different back in the days, dog. You feel me? That's why I don't like when people act like this shit's been concrete and the same forever. Like this shit's, oh, let's say 200 years or some shit like that. That is like a blink of an eye on a macro scale chronologically. Think about how much shit has changed just within that time. How many perceptions have changed? How many borders have changed? This just within that little blink of an eye of time. You feel me? But, you know, maybe I'm rambling. Maybe I'm rambling. Give me a. I think this one's cool. Let's check it out. Who cares? Who cares if it's a woman? She seems like she's being concise. She seems like she's being concise. So let's get it. Aaron has no. The last one didn't pop up. What is that? What's that middle one? That's like the Pisces sign or something like that. Hold on. In Jamaica, science is slang for obia. Yeah, the sciences. Sciences. You feel me? Bloody money come fast and I spend it off quick. White people blood me put in me offering. Oh, let me not go. You know, the new dance hall is evil as shit. the new dance hall is evil as shit. Hold up. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Debbie Katz. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have a master's degree in social work. In 1996, I was trained and got certified as a clinical.
She's creeping me out. She's creeping me out, but that's okay. And she got the little joint right there. Don't she remind you of the lady from Get Out? I'm a nigga who does not believe in hype. You feel me? So I never went and saw Get Out. It was mad years later when I saw Get Out in my own crib. I just downloaded and watched it real quick. You feel me? And after I watched that shit, I was like, God damn, this nigga did it, dog. I swear I done survived some shit like that, man. But let's not get into that.
Clinical hypnotherapist. And now I'm going to help you to understand the simplicity of hypnosis. There really are no best self-hypnosis techniques because it's different for everyone. But when you think about hypnosis and that it's a deep state of relaxation, that's the definition, and however you're going to achieve that deeply relaxed state is up to you. So sometimes just sitting down with some quiet music, closing our eyes, following our breath in and following our breath out. Just by doing some of that breathing and sitting in a comfortable chair, there are recordings you can get. So, or you can just do it yourself, and I'll give you a couple of tips on how to do that. So first you might want to induce hypnosis, and the way some hypnosis, there's a number of different ways to induce hypnosis, but one is to, confusional technique. Actually, it would be somebody talking to you in confusing ways, or you can actually do it with the numbers. You could open your eyes, you can count back from 100 and open your eyes on the even numbers and close your eyes on the odd numbers. And that's going to induce hypnosis because your eyes are going to...
Yo, I've heard of this one before, and I've never done it because that shit seems creepy to me. Some things in the nigga spirit, I research all types of occult, metaphysical shit all for years and years and years. All types of ethogens and psychedelics and combinations of things and this and that. But there's certain things you just don't do. You feel me? And it might sound silly. I'm not doing this joint right here just because of how it looks. It looks like you want some exorcism type shit.
going to get tired. So it would be like open your eyes on 100, close your eyes on 99. Open your eyes on 98, close your eyes on 97. You can see how confusing that can be.
You don't got to do all that. I'll teach you how to do it without doing the white man's magic. You know, white people magics. White people magic can be creepy and gross. Nigga magic too. You feel me? You know, niggas in Haiti. How about you niggas just chill out, dog? You don't gotta be killing shit no more. You feel me? Don't do it. Stop killing shit all the time. And I live in Miami, dog. Spanish niggas can't stop killing chickens on the railroad tracks, dog. Chill out, nigga.
So that would be a confusional way that would induce hypnosis, because you'd never make it down to 1. You'd get way too tired doing that. And so the conscious mind has now gotten so confused it's just gone off and gone to sleep. And so now the subconscious mind is open, which means you are in hypnosis. So there's no right way. There's a lot of scripts and all kinds of things you can get on the internet. Any of those kinds of things will work. Progressively relaxing your muscles, seeing a light coming in through the crown of your head and letting the light drift over your whole body and just seeing every part of your body relaxing. That's a progressive relaxation. That's a good self-hypnosis technique. But really just doing some deep breathing, listening to some quiet music is really a wonderful...
You know, this bitch is surface level as hell, dog. This bitch is surface level. You know, I can't be mad at it, and you can't be mad at it in the audience either, because you know what you get when you come to the show. I have nothing planned. I didn't review the clips. I didn't do anything. I just have ideas. You feel me? And what did homie say earlier? What would he say? The will always yields to the imagination. The will always yields to the imagination. Let me put that on the screen. You feel me? The will always yields to the imagination. You dig? Oh, give me 2 seconds. You know what? The show's already boring. Let me get into this portion. Let me get into this slight portion. Now, this book was given to me by a girl who has passed away. Let's not get into those circumstances and all that. But she was rather wealthy, from a wealthy area, and she knew the type of things I was in, because from the art scene and shit like that, I had a bit of a reputation, you know, and from businesses, you feel me? So she was in her super rich area, I mean mega rich, and they were doing like what do they call it when they're moving or whatever? It's like a garage sale, but not really. They call it something different, an estate something or something like that. They call it something when it's super rich people's houses. You feel me? So you see the title right there. I forgot what they call it. But yeah, she went in there, she came across it, and she made sure it reached to my hands. And then, after I received the book, I noticed that it had been signed by the author in 1986. It says, to Carol Maribel, good luck and good searching. And it's signed by Joe Halpert. And I think he is might be the brother of Richard Halpert. You feel me? Estate sale. You feel me? Yeah. Magic Family said estate sale. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. You should check it out. It's a very short, good read. I feel like it's pretty concise, very little filler to me. And I like that I haven't read it in a while. So when I picked it back up to read it again, I was like, I just looked at the first few chapters, and I like how now remembering, I like how they did the book, because I think the most valuable information that you'll probably need out of this whole book, and probably in your whole life, is in the first like 3 chapters. So they don't try to hide it in there and stick it in the middle and all that. Now they're like, boom, we'll get that out the way. We'll get whatever you can, after that, we'll get whatever you consider speculative out the way, and then we'll get into the fringe. You feel me? So fuck it, we're here now, dog. Let's just dive into it for a second. So yeah, this is You and the Psychic Within by Joseph L. D. Alpert and Richard Herbert. You feel me? Auto-suggestion or self-hypnosis. It's very short, because we're going to get into this and I want us to discuss it. It's very short. As with any introduction to unfamiliar material, there are specific terms that need to be defined for a clearer understanding of the subject at hand. This chapter will induce and explain some of the terms we will be dealing with and how they work. Let us begin by starting with the word consciousness. What does it mean to be conscious of a thought or reality? It means to be aware, to have knowledge of one's sensations or inner feelings, as well as external operations, knowing or feeling that something is or was happening. If consciousness means to be aware, the brain informs us that we are conscious, so let us view the brain in a new light. Beyond its purely physical structure, we can generally say that the brain is where the mind resides, and that the mind is always conscious, for it keeps the body functioning even though we may be asleep. Now, I'm gonna drop the link again. Somebody want to come over here and discuss, because this is serious. Has anybody ever considered that? Did you think that your body is made to go into autopilot simply for sleep? Is your body designed to go into autopilot simply for sleep? Or can you put that bitch in autopilot or neutral or whatever at any time and not have to worry about the functions? The functions are built into the machinery. That means that consciousness, fuck it, we're here now. Consciousness most likely resides outside of the machinery. You feel me? And you're interfacing with something more than you are that thing. You feel me? So I say that to say this. If the body is designed to idle, that means it's also designed for you to do it at will for a purpose. So let's not speculate on those purposes. Let's just say that we can say that's a true statement as far as I've gone right now, that's a true statement. You feel me? Hold on. I think about the consciousness situation. I think about the conscious situation all the time. What do you think about it? Like, you don't gotta give me the whole thing, but like, what angle are you thinking about it from? Let's dive back into that. So it's a very short chapter. Our brains function on Our brain functions on alternating frequencies. We could call these frequencies cycles of awareness or planes of consciousness. The intensity and the speed of each cycle or plane, whichever term is easier to grasp, emits brainwaves that can actually be measured as cycles per second or brainwaves per second by biofeedback machines. These biofeedback machines measure the cycles of the brain in much the same way as, the electrocardiogram measures the beats of the heart. The rate at which the brain emits cycles indicates the level of consciousness for that person. Thus, 14 to 21 cycles per second is the beta wavelength. This is the level at which we function with our five senses. The conscious mind and logical thought operate on this level. This is a frequency in which we operate during our daily lives. However, when in this state, we are using only about 2 to 3% of the brain's capacity. So I'm sure we all heard that before. In your day, so they're letting you know throughout all your daily tasks. All your daily tasks. And people like to say this is woo-woo. It's not woo-woo. There is a scientific machinery that was just quoted, similar to the electrocardiogram. You feel me? So, through your daily shit all day, that means, and what includes your daily shit? High levels of stress, high levels of computation, processing power, athleticism, so like just put in a perspective of homework, putting thesis papers and shit together. All that shit that you're doing, 2, 3 at max. If you're a super genius, 5%, 4%, some shit like that. You feel me? Let's just, oh shit, my bad. I just noticed South Sands was here. Let me welcome him to the show. Welcome him to the show. My bad.
What's good, mama?
Gotcha. What's good, bro? Give me 1 second.
You hear me, bro?
AM1. Yeah, I can hear you. We got
All right,
AM1. He says the sheer idea of being aware that you're aware and how that state is possible and where it's based. I understand what you're saying, but the thing, it seems to be non-local to me. You feel me? If you want to keep it in mundane ideology, they say it's a part of the mechanism which consciousness is springing from the mind. And I feel like the mind is receiving consciousness other than consciousness springing from it. You feel me? AM1 says consciousness seems to consciousness seems to defy known physics. Known physics are bullshit. I feel like every day that we're living is just pretty much nonsense unless you re- they say to know everything you want to know yourself. You feel me? I feel like we are reflections of, we might be the micro of the macro. You feel me? And that's the only way we can either know the truth or know discernment is by knowing ourselves, because we are in a system that is built for you not even to understand the true nature of reality. So if you don't understand the true nature of reality, you probably don't know how things work. So I'm not saying I know how things work. I'm just saying, like, people in general, we should be more humble and try to figure this shit out. But let me let Iota get in this. What's good, bro?
Oh shit, man. I actually agree with both of you. Like, you know what I mean? I can't actually pick a side because you're both right. Fucking in my opinion, like you can't freaking consciousness doesn't the freaking does exceed known physics. But at the same time, like how can you actually really know? You know what I mean?
I guess you can't, but it's kind of like being in physicality and trying to conceptualize infinity. We can say it and understand that what it means. Oh, forever. Well, you can't really conceptualize that shit. It's kind of like when somebody says ridiculous numbers to you. Yeah, I can kind of understand what you're saying. Oh, you're saying a zillion, so that's this many billions or whatever. Some crazy number, some trillions or whatever. This is that many billions that equals that. But once you get into a certain number, it just means nothing to us. So I just feel like it just may be what's the correct word? Intangible.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, I get
But
what you're
here's
saying.
the thing how I look at it. I might not know the building blocks and the basis of consciousness and all this shit, and I'm not really trying to figure that out, because here's the thing. You don't need to know how all these different, like, you can use your phone in conjunction with your computer, in conjunction with your GoPro or something like that, and you can do a lot of shit with that, and you don't know how to fucking build a phone, how to build a GoPro, or how to build a laptop. You understand what I'm saying? So I say you just need to know see the mechanism for what it is and understand how to work the mechanism. You don't need to know the workings of the mechanism. You just need to see it for what it is, and once you can work the mechanism, you can get results from that. And then if you want to ponder and go beyond that and try to understand the workings of the mechanism, that's a fucking next level. You know what I'm saying? That's like getting into
Here's a question for you, bro. I mean, personally, I do want to know about all this type of shit. But do you think to actually know this, fucking all this information, like to have that infinite wisdom and shit, that it might drive you insane?
quite possibly, but the sane man is insane in the world full of insane people, right?
Hmm. Okay.
But here's the
Nah,
thing.
no, fucking I was just asking.
Wait, say that again?
I said, no, I was just asking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just saying, here's the thing. I'm not on that. I'm not trying to figure everything out or know everything. Because me originally getting into fringe sciences and what people would be considered metaphysics or even so-called magic or all that shit was derived from me being a nerd, from liking science. And when you're really into science, you're really good at it in school as a young man, winning awards and shit like that, and you are genuinely interested, you're going to keep looking into it. And at some point where you get at the what they're not understanding, which is like quantum physics. They're going to get into ideas, the theoretical sciences. And when they started talking
Okay.
about how they had a theoretical sciences that were observable, that made me understand how, like, voodoo could work. And then from there, it made me get into researching the weirder shit. Because once you get to that higher level, when you're getting into superposition and um being entangled across any space and time and shit like that, and you having a specific signature to yourself, it makes weird shit like somebody taking your hair or your underwear or some shit like that and being able to do some shit that concerns you. You know?
Fucking niggas took a hair sample.
Yo, it might get deep, because I did another show the other day when it talks about the the Oregon. Am I saying this wrong? I always get the fucking word wrong. Those brains that they're building in Israel. The damn, what was the Oregon? Well, they're organic brains that they're building in Israel to run computing systems. You feel me? That's the next level of, I don't even know. I don't even, it's called biosystem computing. That's just past quantum computing. The D wave computer was
Yeah.
quantum computing. So I don't need, and they say this is way more processing power than that. And how do they get these things to work for them and give them processing power? They say this openly. They do it through trauma, they shock it, or they give it
Yeah.
dopamines.
Yes, sir.
And
That
then
MK Ultra shit, man.
and that's what they're doing with cells. And you know where they get these cells from? They can't create anything. They're not gods. They get these things from the building blocks you've been giving to them. Women giving their placentas away, baby deletions, and all these clinics all over the place and shit like that. So here's the implications of that. You can be entangled to all of that shit because whether we get along or any of that shit, you're entangled to your family and your bloodline and shit. You know what I'm saying? You from somebody you never met, you're getting effects like you might have anxiety from some shit you don't even know about. Somebody like fucking 5 generations back, and you're dealing with the epigenetics of that shit. So I believe it's the same thing as above, so below. So if it's working on the scientific physical level, it's probably working on a metaphysical level. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, pressure from above, pressure from beneath. But I'm gonna just slightly touch on that Israel shit. I mean, of course they're clicked in. You know what I'm saying? Well, fucking Israel, because they're tied in with all these other people um, from France. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they clicked in with the government. Um, People don't want to admit it, but nigga, that's just what the fuck happening.
I need to find this clip to play on the show. I don't know if you've seen it, but I need to find this guy's name. There's a billionaire sitting around and he's sitting around with a table with all these black women, and he's talking about them as like genetic specimens and shit like that. He's like, yes, they have exactly what they need. Only the black woman's womb has this, and this is not made up shit. This is like a straight up billionaire guy sitting this. I got it. If anybody in the chat has seen this clip and knows the name, drop it in the chat. But I'm saying like,
Fucking real quick, bro. You know, fucking Soft Sands is IOTA, right? Fucking, that's my name.
Yeah, I saw you said that you're backstage and you were, so I'm assuming that was you. You know.
Oh, bet. No, I was just asking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was surprised. Like I knew you was IOTA over here, but I seen Soft Sands on some other panels and shit. So I wasn't sure that was you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got but what I was saying, the whole point where I was bringing up the billionaire talking about the black woman having the specific genetics that they need. You have to connect that to what we know what is going on scientifically right now. The concrete shit they're doing, the globular brains for computing power over there, and they need certain genetics. I'm sure if it's a biological computer, I'm sure some genetics work better than the others, huh? It makes sense, right? You're going into physicality and physicality. This is now I'm just speculating. I don't want to talk too crazy, and I don't want to speculate too much. It's gonna get into me fucking rambling. But we got Aaron in the house. Feel me? Aaron says, I'm more interested in the significance of consciousness than the origin or existence of it. If autosuggestion is how we wield the control, if autosuggestion is how we wield and control consciousness, it should be mandatory education. A lot of things should be mandatory education. Do you think they just took you think they just took the music out of schools because it's lazy? Because they're lazy? Because they don't want to spend money? You think that's why they took it out of schools? You think that's why they don't want niggas having drums and trumpets and shit like that? No, tapping into that creative field, like I said earlier, what was it again? The will always yield to the imagination. How are you tapping to the imagination? And most niggas have some type of experience with this. If you can't freestyle rap, which we see as nothing, we've let other groups get all the money off this shit, and we've even devalued the science of it because we see it as silly. But what are they studying as one of the highest levels of flow state? Freestyle rapping. This is what the white science. So you don't believe me because I'm a nigga. Go look up the white scientists studying freestyle rapping as one of the highest, if not the highest level of flow state, and how you're literally time traveling and you're living like in omni dimensions. You feel me? You're performing in the moment. You're thinking about what you're gonna do in the future, and you're thinking about what you said because you might reference it in the moment or in the future. There's a lot going on. And there's ways they can calculate that shit. Let me not get into you niggas look it up since you don't be believing me.
I mean, and forget all that. You know what I mean? Fucking even besides hip hop, fucking niggas fucking used to be good at some goddamn instruments. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, the trumpet, the flute, the fucking violin. You know what I mean?
That's the point I want to make. Hip hop was already becoming rotted. That shit was already decaying. By that shit that we think is so great that that shit was already the decay of the system. When you look at the music before that, when you look at the funk and all that shit and the different levels you can get into when you were playing real instruments that were reverberating real vibrations, when you were playing off the fucking off the record with a diamond tip needle, all this shit was scientific. You feel me? And there's a reason why they changed from that to digital. Why do the government don't give you nothing for free for your benefit? When Obama was in office, they said we gotta switch to digital. They were giving niggas digital cable boxes for free. Everywhere. Hood everywhere. You think that was for your benefit? I just use that as an example to say all these changes are for further lockdown of your mind. That's why conversations like this are important about auto-suggestion, because it's about controlling your mind. That's all I'm really concerned with, you know?
Yeah.
Hold on, we got AM1, he says, it's not mandatory because it's powerful and there are people who want us to know. I guess you mean don't want us to know our potential. Yeah, that's 100% facts. Because there's too much things that have been studied that it's 100% beneficial for you. Simple things. But we can go, I don't want to get all the way down. I want to keep it on the mind right now, because you can get into like things that have been proven. Frequency healing and shit has been proven. Meditation and the benefits. You feel me? Let me not even go down that road. Yeah, we are flying low, so we spitting. It is what it is. I'm gonna say this one chapter is very short, and I just want to get to the point. I think. Should I do it? Yeah, get the cycles. Oh yeah, let's get into this real quick.
Hey, gang. Fucking, I'm about to drop down. I just know if my phone's about to die. Freaking, I ain't even recognize it. So I'm gonna drop down.
It's all good, bro. The link is here.
All right, peace out, man.
Peace. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we Magical Family says, and Jab, facts. I'm telling you, the hip hop was already the deathbed. It was the deathbed of nigga art. You feel me? But we're just so ill with it. Feel me? We're just so ill with it that we literally did alchemy. We're taking dead shit and making it the illest shit over again. That's the. I know you niggas love to hate yourselves and shit like that, but that's what you really did. You're doing like high level alchemy. You're taking shit and lead and turning it into gold, but you just don't know how to. Not even know how to, because it's not really like, oh, you need to be better businessmen. No, it's not about being better businessmen. There are a lot of very good black businessmen. You just need to understand you at war. You're at war, brother. You're at war. Let me read this though. And jazz, which we created, is the embodiment of dancing with spirit, consciousness, and the universal mind. Facts. Infinite possibility. If you've been around the show for a while, hit the like, please. If you've been around the show for a while, you've heard me preach infinite possibility over and over again. And you think I'm doing that to show off to you guys, like, oh no, he's got it. He understands infinite possibility, nigga. I don't understand shit. Should hit my cash app for saying that, because very little niggas are online are gonna say that shit. I don't understand shit. And you're being propagandized all day. You're constantly being covered in paws and layers of propaganda. So you constantly need to be auto-suggesting and reprogramming yourself so you can maintain control. And if you think you're immune to propaganda, you're probably super propagandized. And the propaganda that you're propagandized by, that you think is your anti-propaganda, is your prison. Welcome to disagreeable. Welcome to infinite possibility. Welcome to me not even talking to you niggas in the chat right now. I'm pep talking myself. Reminding myself to get back in motion. On shit that I know most niggas don't see as very important. I remember the point in time when I was like studying, let me not say studying, I was interested in astral projection and shit. But I was more interested in studying lucid dreaming and getting further into the lucid dream. And here's one thing that's very interesting about this. The better you get it, and here's something I know. That's how I know the propaganda is heavy and it's hard to do what you're supposed to do. Because I know this for a fact, and I don't even do it how I'm supposed to. So I'm pep talking myself to get back into it. The more that you practice lucid dreaming, the better that you get at it. I can't explain it 100%, but waking life just becomes smoother. It just becomes smoother. Let me hit this. Aaron says the Magical Families comment exactly. Like whenever I've had a bad trip, blue, I play blue and green Miles Davis. Oh, blue and green Miles Davis completely rewrites my inner voice. That well, I don't even want to get into the psychedelic conversation right now. We're gonna keep it here. You feel me? But everybody's here that's here for this ride. Let me do this. This chapter is very short. We're just gonna run through this shit real quick. It's very concise. Hold on. 8 to 14 cycles per second is the alpha wavelength. This level is sometimes referred to as alpha sleep because the body is totally relaxed and thus all energy is diverted to the brain, thus permitting the suggestibility to the subconscious mind. Since the body is at rest and requires a minimal level of activity, energies can be focused on inner awareness with the expansion of inner awareness. Intuitive knowledge and creative thought can be developed and brought into consciousness. 4 to 8 cycles per second is a theta wavelength. This is a somewhat hallucinatory state of consciousness. At this stage, creativity bursts forth. This is also the level of the dream state experienced just prior to sleep. And anybody coming in here that's thinking I'm reading some woo-woo shit right now, no, you know why they know the wavelengths? Because they've been measured and they're observable. Okay? 1 to 6 cycles per second is the delta wavelength. This level operates in the area of deep sleep, where consciousness shuts down to a minimal level to allow the physical body deep rest and repair. The alpha sleep level is an area which is undergoing research The alpha sleep level is an area which is undergoing research and investigation, thus is also the subject of concentration for this book. The alpha level. What becomes obvious to us here is that if we can somehow tap the alpha level, if we can somehow tap the alpha mental state regularly and bring it under our control, we can then bring forth a latent, dormant knowledge and creativity. For it is true that we are operating on only 2 to 3% of the brain's capacity and doing a fairly good job of it. Imagine how the utilization of 5 or 10% more of the brain's capacity could enhance our lives. Hand in hand with the expansion and control of the mind is the discipline of the physical body. Let me run that back. Hand in hand with the expansion and control of the mind is the discipline of the physical body. Another potential benefit: habits of overeating, smoking, nail biting, alcohol, drug abuse, and anxiety attacks can disappear merely by the proper suggestion to stop them, received in the alpha state. How many? Let me check the chat. Hold up. Better sleep and dreams definitely make you more powerful in the waking state of the world. See, AM1 has definitely he's observed this too. And if he has like a experience, I wouldn't mind him coming up here and breaking down, because that's all I really care about. Because I could read all day. I've read all these books and all this shit. You feel me? Mad years of reading a whole bunch of weird shit and experimenting with yourself as a laboratory and your conscious mind as a scientist in that laboratory. So I'm very interested in people's direct experiences, especially when I have a level of respect for them, because everybody lies. So if you can find somebody who don't lie, or at least doesn't lie too crazy, and you can get real data points from them, from things that seem intangible, I feel like that's very valuable. Along with my fitness training and nutrition, really been getting never really been in my okay. I think you meant never. Along with my fitness training and nutrition, never really been getting my sleep more dialed in and about to bring back more fasting. Yeah, I'm like an extreme person, So when I was in my fasting cycles, I was going crazy. Then I fell back because, some people consider going 24 hours a fast or something. That's not like, that just means you didn't eat that day. That's not a fast to me. You feel me? That means you didn't eat that day. That's not really a fast to me. 48 is whatever. 72, I'll commend you because most people can't do 72. My first water fast was a week. The first time I tried it, I jumped it, did a week. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? We got AM1. Welcome AM1 to the show.
Yeah, I'm in this bitch. Yeah, my bad. I was getting typos or autocorrects on the thing, so it wasn't letting me say what I wanted to say. But yeah,
It's
man.
all good.
I love the topics, but yeah, just stacking the like the baseline things that seem like it's super deep, but it's really like the baseline things, right? Like when you get into the whole consciousness discussion, it's like, okay, you're aware that you're aware, and then you're piloting this body situation that you got to feed and have shelter for it. So it's like, all right, let's take it back to the diet nutrition part. What are you feeding your body? Because what are you building your body with? And then your body seems to react to, putting it through certain stressors, hormetic stressors. So fitness resistance training along with the nutrition. So you're building your body, you're using the stressors to build it. Obviously taking in the nutrients in form of air, breathing right. And then obviously the proper rest and recovery, right? So when you put those things together and really focus on that, it really helps to dial in this whole thing where every night you have to sort of shut your mind off and let your body recharge. And you go off into seemingly either, I don't know, blink out of consciousness, or you are in some kind of thought dream realm situation. But I've noticed that the more I focus on diet, fitness, nutrition, the things I just outlined, it's making my sleep better and just taking my ass to sleep and not being sort of caught up with the distractions of the world, so to speak. My sleep game being on point, it seems to have a direct impact on how I'm able to produce, create, and, to use a buzzword, manifest shit in the waking state world. Shit just flows better. So when you said that, I was like, bro, I'll fuck with that. And just was like, let me give some more insights into that. That's why, man, I've like pulled back from so much bullshit and fuckery and distractions in life and just focus on the basic, simple things. And it's like, that's my new hobby. I mean, it's always been there, but I'm like making that be my main hobby. And it seems, boring to most people. It's like, well, what do you do for fun? It's like, I got the ultimate project to work on every day. You feel me?
Yeah. When you start when you really start exploring different states of consciousness, and I mean, and this is like totally natural, meaning just your body, no psychedelics or ethogens or whatever. When you start getting into what you can do with that, it gets very interesting. That's what I'm saying. There's definitely something in this reality that wants you to go against that, because it's the most simple things might give you the most benefit, but those are the hardest things to do. Like meditating for like 10 minutes is the easiest thing, because you literally have to do nothing. But as soon as you need that 10 minutes to do that, everything's going to tell you not to do that. If you happen to be able to get down to start doing it, everything's going to be telling you to get up, to move, to do something. You got to check this. I got to do this. Everything's going to try to get you to hit you to move around. So I feel like and I feel like it's more than the mind, And this when you get into weird conversations like, what are thoughts? Are your thoughts your own? Are we swimming in emotion? Are we swimming in consciousness, and it's coming and going, and we need to be tuned into ourselves to remain centered, to remain the still like flame in the wind? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I think about that like in a sense of, one, our own minds, how we've conditioned them to not have a certain level of focus. And then something I always think about too is maybe it's harder to sort of cut out the other background noise in your mind, the monkey mind shit, or how, you can try to just sit and meditate. I've understood different strategies on how you do it, clear your mind, or focus on counting on a number, visualize a particular shape in your mind, give yourself certain commands. I've, explored different ways of how people talk about doing it, but then sooner or later your mind is going to veer off, and then all of a sudden you're daydreaming about some rando shit. So one is the matter of clutter in your life, how much clutter you've had in your whole life since childhood. So there's that. But then also one of the biggest obvious things is, what the fuck do you eat? Because obviously the diet nutrition situation is going to affect how your brain is working, right? So I look at that, like people talk all this shit about meditating and their wellness routines and all that, but then eat a bunch of bullshit. Like in the Bay, that's a big thing. Everybody's on their wellness shit, but then they don't really care about fitness or anything like on a stressor level. So they like to talk about the wellness and woo-woo shit and whatever, but just totally slack off on the harder thing. They want the easy, low-hanging fruit. But I just say that to say, to the point you just made, the amount of seeming, I don't know, thought energy out there. And then there's the whole thing of, is it some non-locality situation? Are we swimming in this pool of thoughts? Are we being influenced by other people's thoughts? or then our own thoughts and how disciplined we are with being able to control that and focus that, solidify it, crystallize it in a certain way. And then, of course, bringing it back to summarize what I was saying, the diet element. So I think there's a lot of things we're working against, day-to-day life distractions, stresses, and all that. Man, I got to get to work. I got to pay this bill, or I'm stressing off some stupid ass chick, or who are we going to vote for. All these like external things they're baiting us with to take our own thought energy and make it that hard to just sit for 10 minutes and not think about shit. You feel me?
Yeah, and just to add, like when you were saying you get your like as Halo just said, he said I can appreciate how sleep hygiene transform your reality in one. So
Yeah, right. That's such a big deal. Like, man, just within the past 2 weeks, lift game, sauna, just really dialing in, and like the people I interact with on a day-to-day basis. Very few people. Obviously, you guys, or maybe you don't know, I work for myself, so when I'm not out on gigs, I'm working from home, or like I'm in my spot in Vegas right now. The sphere of influence, people that can influence me or who I'm, sort of have my life tied to, is very limited. And the people I fuck with know how off the rails I am with the weird shit, quote unquote, right? So they don't derail that, or better said, they're on the same type of shit as me. So it's no real friction or argument. I don't have to be pulled in all these different ways. I don't have all this cluster fuckery, frenemy shit in my life. Fuck with only people that really get it for the most part. Even though, like here in Vegas, I'm surrounded with all these opportunities to go drink and party and do all this shit. So just a level of discipline to not do it and say, nah, I'm going to go to sleep at, 9:30, 10, whatever. I literally was about to go to sleep, and then I was like, let me hop on the stream. But I'll still be laying down at 10, then I'm going to hop off, and then be up at 5, hit the gym, work out, do some work in front of the computer, get back out, walk, get some sun. Just really focusing on that shit. My sleep has been so much better lately, and I'm just knowing I'm in this dope flow state to where, about to really run up some projects, drop more content. Everything's just clicking. The more the sleep game is on point, and the sleep game is powered by the diet game, powered by the fitness game. So all of these basic natural things, most of which are fucking free, are helping my life just accelerate on so many levels. But technically I'm doing boring things to the average person. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, to the average person, but if you relate to the masses and average person, in my opinion, you're fucking up. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree.
And what you were saying, like with the bed, like that's why I want to lock in more, because I just feel more creative. I feel like I get better work done at night, but I also got to work during the day. So I got weird sleep schedule. You know what I'm saying? So I need to dial it in more. But what you were mentioning about going to bed at a certain time, there's a book, like I'm looking at it right now in my stack. There's a book called Cyclomancy, The Secret of Psychic Power Control. This is some super old shit. I don't even know if you can really find it in print that often. If you can find a used one, but just what I bring that up? Oh yeah, the whole reason I brought that up was what it points out one of the highest levels of mental control that you can obtain to start is going to bed, choosing a bedtime and going to bed at that time. Don't matter if you're sleepy, none of that shit. If you're still like wide awake, you got to go in bed, turn the lights off, lay in bed. You know what I'm saying? They say if you master that, building past that becomes like a snowball effect. You know? And they have all types of different exercises in the book, but that's one of the root ones and most interesting ones. And when I was implementing it for a while, I definitely saw results from it. And like when you said earlier about coming back, like when you got your sleep hygiene on point, being more creative out of the sleep, I feel like that's where you really go gather the shit. That's where the good shit at is on the other side. So the more conscious you are in your sleep state, or when you get into these different theta, alpha wave states, you get to bring back more information. You're tapping into you're doing work over there, and you know how time dilates in sleep. So you can go over there and work on an idea for 5 years, and you were asleep for 8 hours. You understand what I'm saying? And you come back with the energy and the ideas. You're throwing things in, like, where did this come from? Where did this place go? Like, how did I get this flow state right here? Because you were working. You were working the whole time. You know.
For sure. No, that's such a great point, because, and it's making me think, like, the way I've dialed in, like I keep going back to this because it's been mind blowing. Like I've struggled with sleep my whole life. I've always had issues with sleep, largely because of to the astral projection issue. I've had that sleep paralysis thing in my childhood and early teens, and it really fucked with me, like on a psychological level, to the point where I was like afraid of it, to where I had issues going to sleep. And then got into blowing hella trees, and I would like smoke weed and go into like more of a marijuana coma sleep but then that's not real sleep. But I was doing that because it would just knock me out and I wouldn't have to worry about the sleep paralysis. And that spiraled off into my 20s and kind of fucked me all up thinking back on it. But to your point, fixing that and getting it better, just when the past couple of weeks alone, last few days, that time dilation thing, like I go to sleep and feel like, fam, I feel like I've been asleep for days and then wake up and it's like 7:30. It's like, what the fuck? With no alarm. I've been waking up pretty smooth and that's still, going to bed later than I even wanted to. So when I really get it dialed to where I can be up at like 5 with no alarm, laying down at 8:39, like I'm about to shift into that this week, about to hit a fast this week too, along with the workout. So stack all that shit together. And then lastly, I'll say this to that other point of going into that other state, doing the work there with that time dilation. So you get more bang for your time buck, so to speak, and then bringing that back. That's a big thing. Have you ever, I'm pretty sure you looked into it, like the Carlos Castaneda stuff. We're talking about like the sorcery levels with the luminous egg dreaming, or going into the, what was he calling it? The inorganic beings, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm not like a Castaneda expert, but I know like about Toltec stuff, so.
Right, but just the sorcery concept of going into that state and doing, to the point of what you said, doing work there and bringing it back. They specifically talked about that as like a real thing. And, I think those are certain stories or metaphors they're using, like within the Carlos Castaneda stuff. I think there's some fiction to it, but I think there's some obviously nonfiction levels to it as well. But the idea of going into that state and bringing power back is super interesting.
Facts. And I don't know if you were here earlier when I was playing that movie clip. Were you here earlier when I was playing that movie clip?
I think I came right in. You were playing something with some woman, so I think I missed it, or maybe that's not the right thing.
Yeah, Halo had dropped a clip earlier from a movie called The Gambler, and he had labeled it suggestion into auto suggestion. You feel me? And the guy kind of broke down telling the guy a story before he loans him a giant chunk of money. And he tells him he's telling him about like Americans about fuck you, like this whole country's built on fuck you, this is built on fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And then after he's about to hand him the money he needs or the keys, oh shit, Halo, that shit was symbolic as fuck. Because he hands him keys and the guy's like, what's this? He's like, I'm giving you 280, so what's the car, right? But he was handing him the key in that moment, and then when he handed it to him, right before he handed him the key, he says, what do you want to be able to say to me? And the guy says, fuck you, and takes it. He gave him suggestion and made him auto-suggest himself, and he put him into the mind state or the environment of winning or playing this out. You understand what I'm saying? He set a timeline in place. So I'm saying, like, I wanted to connect that to like Castaneda when it goes into storytelling, or like the Kabbalion and shit like that. I feel like that's what's going on. They're leading you through stories, and then you're getting you to implant in yourself, and hopefully. This is for like I'm pretty like guarded off and shit when it comes to this, but hopefully it's nothing negative, and you're making the choice of what I want to plug into after I read these parables or these, like, because some of this shit can sometimes be like, hypnosis has a confusion inductions, So yeah, so sometimes I think some of these texts can be on the level of a confusion induction to get you to a different wavelength, and then to get you to absorb the information on a subconscious level. You feel me?
Right. No, I think that's part of the whole idea of like a sorcery concept, because if you're talking about like a psychic energy, getting back to that whole, what is psyche, consciousness, what does that even mean? Where does it originate? Is that relative to just electromagnetic or electrons, neurons firing, or are we some type of energies that rest on some kind of, I don't know, cosmic backdrop, astral field, 0-point field energy situation, that, we all share this, cosmic game space holodeck kind of scenario, but, and with that, there's energies that can be manipulated. Language is like a offshoot of that, because it's technically almost like a mind over matter kind of thing, but using sound to convey thoughts and ideas through, some kind of language sound concept. But that ultimately we're consciousness beings operating in some kind of field, and we're perceiving it as solid objects, blah, blah, blah. So the more you understand that and can work from that position, then you can execute things that are like seemingly magical or sorcery kind of elements. But to the person who's not knowing how deep it goes, it seems like you're doing something super crazy, but you're really not, because you just understand what we're actually dealing with more. So interesting that what you said about the gambler thing and tie that to the Castaneda stuff, and the idea how they talk about, Toltec mysticism, sorcery. I fuck with all of that. All of that stuff is super interesting to me, and I think it can be used for theoretically negative purposes or positive purposes. Like a weapon or for a tool for defense or for offense. I think it
Yeah,
goes both ways. But
if you understand the nature of reality and somebody else doesn't, then you have you definitely have the upper hand on them, 100%.
sure, right. But then it becomes like a matter of I guess you could say, intent or consciousness or service to self or service to others kind of leanings for that particular person, that particular consciousness, that spirit, whatever. Like, yeah, I know how reality works and how the framework works. You just think this is some nuts and bolts reality thing and whatever. So I could use that against you if I wanted, or I could try to, I don't know, teach you more, put you up on game, or I don't owe you anything because you're a conscious being and you can figure the shit out just like me. So I'm gonna just stand back and watch you. A few different ways you could look at
I
it.
feel like I feel like here's one of my like theories. Like you can just throw seasoning into the pot with certain people. Like certain people, we can talk to you, and while I'm talking to certain people, even though I don't know I'm doing this consciously, just because we're not on the same level, and this is not a personal thing, like I'm above them, we're just not on the same level. I'm more, and if you're receiving from me, I'm more preparing you a meal. So while I'm talking to you, I'm cooking it for you to understand it so you can absorb it or eat it. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking to somebody who's on the level, and that's good for the expansion of consciousness of that person, and it helps your ability to convey ideas. But now, when you're talking to somebody who is on your level, that's when you get to truly expand the consciousness of both of you, and maybe expanding consciousness in the universe in general when you come to epiphany. Because here's what I see epiphany as. I see it as like mental verbal alchemy. Because if we're both talking, if we're both speaking with open hearts to one another, and we don't have any agendas. I'm not trying to defend a position. This is real, just figuring it out, just speaking to each other. Whatever's coming out of my mouth could be 100% bullshit lead, and what's coming out of your mouth could be bullshit lead. But the fact that we keep going at it and mixing this pot, we get alchemical gold out of it at some point. And I'm sure we've all had this experience, just chopping it with your people, and then it's like boom, a gate just opens into new ideas. You're like, damn. And to me, that is what this life is, what's really important here above everything. It's the epiphany, the moments of epiphany, the moments of expanding consciousness when you're gathering what some people call light. You know what I'm saying? It might be literally adding to your soul if you want to go into the whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? Or adding to your consciousness. Maybe your consciousness is your soul.
No, I feel that. Like, I totally agree with that point, and that's dope. And that's why using technology, light speed communication from all the way across the country, and being able to talk to people from around the country, around the world, and just be like, yeah, what do you think? Here's what I think, to your point. And I like that because I like the idea of objectivity, right? Like, I come from like a journalism kind of mentality. Let me hear all the sides. I don't need to stand on any kind of ego position based on what I think. I don't fucking know. You probably don't know. It could be bullshit led, but let me hear it, because maybe it sparked some idea. Maybe, damn, I was talking to Disagreeable on that stream. He said some ill shit, which you've already said some ill shit. And it's like, damn, that made me think about a lot of things. And to that point, I make it to where, like I said, I interact with very few people, and I'm very selective who I even bother to engage with. So it's pretty refined in the sense that most of my conversations are always that spitballing, throwing the bullshit lead against the wall and seeing whatever everybody can throw against and what kind of artwork or gold we pull out of that from that alchemy standpoint. Always trying to develop and troubleshoot and think tank this shit out. What are we dealing with? Versus somebody who's like, that's crazy. Here's what it is, and blah, blah, blah. And you got to stand on it based on some ego shit. Cause it's like, fam, you don't really know, from that religiosity kind of standpoint. Like, well, my faith and my belief is this. So it dictates my reality. And it's like, all right, stop it. I'm still, cool. Now let me go talk to somebody else who can openly say, I don't know. Cause I find that far more interesting. Because I don't think we know. So let's figure out.
Facts. And I feel like I don't feel like I know Very few people want to know. That's why I don't speak to most people, because as soon as I speak to you for a little bit, I understand that you're trying to defend a position. You're not trying to really understand or
Right.
concede. It's a debate or an argument. You feel me? And what people learn with me very quickly is I don't have any position. You feel me? I've had so many experiences in life that I realize I might have like a kind of a compass towards what's going on, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. This is a very weird thing that we're in. You feel me? When you really observe this reality, whatever you want to call it, the simulation, the samsara, this Maya. But all these people throughout all these centuries and different cultures have had these different names for this thing. You understand what I'm saying? And all these names don't mean shit. They have descriptive words for this, but it kind of just means like you're in some shit, a confusing fucking mess. I don't know if you ever got into like the idea of the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Bardos, and
Right.
that's one of my I haven't really went down that road in a long time, but that was one of my main theories for a long time, that maybe this shit is done, it's cooked. Maybe I'm dead and I'm in the Bardos, because I've had so many weird experiences. And when you read about the Bardos in the Book of the Dead, it's like it's just like regular life, but it's strange. You feel me? And you have to make it through this to get out of this shit, I'm guessing. You know, to escape the simulation or come back into this thing. You know, but I digress. I'm going all over the place.
No. I feel that, because those are the big questions. Like, when you don't get caught up in the day-to-day fuckery or the preconceived belief systems and notions, to where you stay with that big question mark, what is this? And you start to really break it down. Like, wait a minute. That's why I love to have these discussions, because it helps center me back into this whole thing of, okay, you do this thing, you're alive. You do this thing where you lose consciousness kind of every night. You wake back up, you're piloting this body thing that you've been living in for your whole life, whatever the fuck that means. Because what was I before this? What was this body before it came from my mom, and a clump of cells developed into this thing, and I have control over it. I can get sensory inputs from the outside external world, and there's these objects and metals pulled from the ground, shaped into things, and vehicles and all this type of shit, like buildings and structures. And then we got to go play like psychological games where we go get resources, and there's money and trade, and like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm staring off into these, the Vegas Strip right now, looking at these big structures and all this stuff they do to lure people in to gamble, and just the fuckery of all this. Like, are we in some kind of simulation, some kind of hellish world realm scenario? Like, what is this? And I love thinking about it because it's so awe-inspiring. And people are like, oh, that's so deep. And it's like, not really. That's just baseline. What the fuck is this? And I love the fact that I don't know, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But I realize that scares the shit out of most people, because they're like, have to know, because it's like a safety blanket thing to think they know. And I'll bask in the glory of, I don't know. This shit is wild and crazy as fuck. But oddly enough, when I make certain choices and certain decisions and move in a certain disciplined way, within the fuckery of this, seemingly good outcomes keep happening when I keep doing certain things. So I'm going to keep doing that and not doing the dumb shit that gets it fucked up, to where my quality of life here in this whatever, I want it as smooth flowing, and I want as much freedom as possible. Right?
You're seeing and that's facts, and you're seeing the benefit of the pattern. That's what this is all about. It's all about like recognizing patterns, choosing beneficial patterns, breaking non-beneficial patterns, and sometimes breaking pattern for the fuck of it, just to bring novelty into your life. You know, because it seems like this machine will offer you novelty. And I'm not saying it's beneficial. This machine might try to get you back into a pattern that it understands, so it can feed off you. That's one of my ideas right there. But still, it's going to give you novelty. So if you're stuck in a rut, you can do random shit and move. Let me keep it at random. You can do random shit, break your pattern, move outside of your normal operations, with the mind of doing better, whatever. And it's important. And here's another thing: when it comes to like, people say don't say your ideas out loud, and especially when it comes to occultism and shit like that, people doing so-called rituals and magical workings, you don't talk about that shit out loud. Now, it's interesting because it seems like once you speak about it out loud, it's in there in the ethers to be influenced by other people who are thinking about it. That's a strip all the way over there. You put your camera on, so I can see that's a strip in the distance. You probably muted up. But damn.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, just having that discussion while just talking about like a high level sort of consciousness discussion, sitting in the middle of this fuckery with all these opportunities to derail your shit. or to do a pattern break and sort of have some interesting journeys. And you can see this. It's hard to see with the spheres over there. Just how my mindset even shifted from coming fucking with Vegas, but really soaking it up from an energy standpoint of like so much movement and just people out here getting it. But I'm still on a different path. You see what I'm saying?
Facts, but here's the thing: being on a different path allows you to take advantage of that city because Vegas itself is a magical city for like could be negative reasons to extract your energy and extract your monies, which is energy also. You know what I'm saying? But it's a magical city nonetheless. All these different buildings, a very occult background and shit like that. You don't need to know any of the specifics of any of that to take advantage of that energy. And the fact that you're not partaking of it in the way they want you to is going to give you a boost, you know?
No, I agree. It's wild that you said that, bro. That's exactly what my whole thought process was. I'm not really about gambling. I'm not really about drinking. A lot of the stuff that Vegas offers, I'm actually not interested in, but I can feel the energy of what this represents as far as how it's an energy gathering sort of hub, a nexus. 40 million people from around the world travel here to do shit and fuck off money. But it's like, nah, it's like I'm able to siphon off some of that energy of people trying to, escape and get away and just feed the engine of this thing and I'm here sort of absorbing that while not being a participant in that. So it's hella dope how you just said that, because that's exactly how it's been for me as I've, been here and settled in more.
And I just thought about this right now. Think about how ritualistic the city is. It's a city based on people going there knowing they're going to give. I'm going to give. I'm going just to I'm going to be spending on accommodation. I'm going to be spending on food and anything else I want. And I'm going to be gambling. And what's the number one thing about gambling? I know I'm probably not going to win. I'm going to this city to give. So they're already in the mode of giving. So if you're out there just like, then that's going to get weird to people who are into that. These niggas are doing some goddamn Satanism. But no. The energy is just in the air, and you can take advantage of it. If niggas want to give their energy, pause, like the ladies too. If they want to give their energy, you can go out there and take advantage of it and do what you would like with that energy. Meaning, energize yourself, energize your ideas. You feel me? You might just walk around and then get some epiphanies and shit, just walking around in that cloud of frenzy. You understand what I'm saying?
Bro, like you're saying it better than I was thinking it and been thinking it. Like I kind of set this in motion. It's been a year in the making, setting it in motion to be able to come plant a flag here. And it's been like almost coming up on 3 months since I really landed here and got this established. And exactly what you just verbalized was kind of like my thought process. It's wild because I have close friends that I've talked to about that. If they heard what you just said, they would be like, damn, that's basically what you were saying. It's like, yeah, man, the way you said it, the giving, people come here knowing they're going to give. They're coming here to fuck off, to just blow off the steam, live vicariously through the high roller life, literally a thing over here called the high roller, go to the sphere, fuck off money, be entertained, Sin City, blah, 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 literally fuck off. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. People come from around the world to do that, but I'm not here for that. But yes, I'm here to siphon off some of that energy. Bro, I'm just reiterating back what you said, but it was dope how you put it. And damn, yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I wouldn't have said that unless you brought that up. And while you were speaking, I was thinking like, damn, that end of the city is like set. It's really about some giving shit. You feel me? They're going there to give, and it's like once you start looking into this shit like on occult levels and shit, and especially if you have like a logical based mind, it all comes back to things that make sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it's gonna go back to like, oh, they're giving. How do I say this for somebody on the mundane level to explain, to understand? Simple, like as above, so below. So if you're giving in your mind, you're probably giving physically. You're probably doing all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be the other side of that coin that you could take advantage of. I feel like I said that wrong, but maybe it makes sense.
Nah, I feel it. Nah, it makes perfect sense. A lot of stuff, man. It's dope talking with you, because you hitting it out of the park as far as shit that I was thinking, but just saying it out loud, which is just wild to me. Yeah, like again, people come out here to do all kind of fuckery, but ultimately it is a giving kind of concept, or that kind of energy. And it's like, yeah, being in the midst of that, like, damn, it's wild how well you just put together the way I have always kind of felt with the whole Vegas energy. Like, oh, I like how it's just action packed. There's a lot of shit going on. but people are coming here, and that's the energy. You put it into words, what I've always felt the energy here. Because to me, I'm not trying to do the vicarious high roller shit. I'm not thinking about to hit a lick on gambling. I'm not here to like do blow and fuck bitches. I'm not here to drink and get super fucked up, which I have, but just I don't know, leaving Las Vegas style. Let's just get dumbass hammered and turn it in here. Party, whatever. I'm like come to Vegas and do the exact opposite of all the nightlife cool shit. You see what I'm saying?
But that's the beauty of when you're not living like the masses. Most people are going to happy hour and having drinks and going on the weekends and having drinks, or they're getting inebriated all the time and shit. When you're living on the opposite side of that, guess what? Your pattern break gets to be a party. So you're in there on different levels. You understand? Now you're tapping into spirits and shit. You're moving with your high level of consciousness already. You're making good connections. You're moving with like the right energy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to use the word energy. Like you're moving with the let me just use swagger. That's nigga for energy, right? You're moving with the right, you're moving with the right swagger. People who you wouldn't usually speak to are speaking to you. That's why I feel like taking a solo trip and traveling is very important, because in your city or even in America, we have a way that we act. You need to I don't know, you could probably do it in the States too, go somewhere out of left field, but I think you need to go somewhere by yourself and move around so you can see who the fuck you are on the baseline level. Because you'll start talking to people, getting into different shit you never do. You feel me? Like, damn, I'm moving a different way out here. And it's because you're out of the matrix. Because there's different levels of the matrix. There's the macro matrix and the mini matrix that you created with your friends, your family, your ideas, all this shit. Like just the visual that you're seeing around you, the shapes of the building, the repetitive of the lawns and the building and shit like that. It's all building your little mini matrix that you're stuck in, and it built. And if you're not conscious, like what we're talking about right now, of consciously going and breaking patterns on purpose, you're stuck in this bullshit. You can't even think out of it. And the most, let me say, the worst level of this is like living in the trenches in the hood, when it's that repetitive, when it's that traumatic, and that trauma is reprogramming you, auto suggesting to you. I mean, it's reprogramming you through the trauma and the repetition that you're in this shit forever. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can break out and this is before I was really studying. It was always in my mind. Like I was like, oh, so the eyes are the windows to the soul. So if I can get more shit in my eyeballs, that means I can get more information that I can build my own worlds with. So even back when I was hustling, I had very little money. I just spend money to go somewhere. You feel me? Or on the weekends, I go stay in 5-star hotels and shit because I wanted to live that level of life. I wanted to get that energy on me, like rub it off on me, and it seemed to have worked. You know?
Yeah. No, I feel all of that is really interesting. Like that discussion, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Like, I mean, my whole life is kind of pattern break. It's set up to be that way because I don't know if you know, from the Bay, from the town. So I still have my spot in Oakland, but I have my spot in Vegas too. So it's like I spent like the past couple of weeks in Oakland, was working, shooting, working out, kicking it with the few people I do kick it with, boxing, training, sparring. Just on the health tip, and then come out to Vegas, reset, do the same shit, and then looking at how, mapping out how I'm about to, as Vegas cools off and gets into the winter, how I'm about to be in Central America, travel game, content, all that while I work. But just kind of like my whole life is one big pattern break. The way I could just pick and choose. I could easily go back to the Bay, then be in Vegas, about to go to LA, just different shit, just different moves and pop around, but have that freedom to do it and get more of that freedom. But then at the same time, it's funny because it's like my boring little life of people will like, what do you be doing? What you been up to? Just working out. I say it just in a drab way. And I chuckle because I'm like, if people understood what I do on a day-to-day basis, they'll be like, that shit seems boring as fuck. And I'm like, but if you only understood the level of freedom and how much fuckery is not in my life, you see what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying. I want to respond to that by saying this to you, like, do you know how little people have actually experienced a flow state outside of just most niggas hit on fire shooting 3-pointers is the highest level of flow state they ever achieved. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
When you turn your life into flow state,
exactly.
Like somebody who's never practiced martial arts and when you practice martial arts, you understand the internal and external martial arts. And when you're really getting better at it, and you get to this place of flow state where it's like it's really like psychedelic. You can't describe it. Your body's just doing things. You're not even seeing things. You're responding at a speed you never knew you could respond at. You're not even there. And that translates above and so below, because you could never even achieve that unless understanding how to maintain your energy correctly. You feel me? You would never even be able to get into that state. So I'm saying your whole life can become like how's a cool way to say it? A feng shui. You feel me? Shit is just placed properly. So when you move around, you just hitting corners. I mean, you just hitting like curves. You're not hitting corners like in a crib, like a box. You hit over here, you get some work done. Man, you sliding over here, everything's smooth. You understand what I'm saying? Like what you described.
Right. Yeah, no, that's wild. Once again, killing it, just putting into words exactly kind of how my situation is. So it's like talking to you, just describing it to you. You're putting it into words that's making me think of it and see it in a way like, damn, I didn't even quite think of it like that. That's kind of profound, because it is. That's how it's locking in to where the level of smoothness is just a flow state kind of thing. And again, just dialing in the diet, nutrition, again, the sleep thing, all of this just is like, wow. Like I literally just came off of looking at flights and Airbnbs to Tulum. I've been wanting to get back to Tulum. I need to get there. Southeast Asia. I'm trying to hit some spots, and everything is falling in place to make that hit. Work projects I'm working on right now, everything is falling in place. Everything is just bam, bam, bam. And I'm just let me stay locked in. The diet shit, the fast shit. And it's like accelerating, and I'm like in this flow state, and it just keeps snowballing on itself, like focusing on the health, focusing on just keeping my mind right, staying away from the drama, standing back, laughing at the shit. Is wild. So that's hella ill to talk to you about it and hear what I'm saying, and then you speak on it, and it's like, fuck, you just said it in a hella dope way. That's crazy.
You're kind of explaining the tail end of what I'm talking about right now on the show. Because before you started, because you've been on point before, but let's go with right now recently. Before you decided to get dialed back in, get back on the sleep schedule, before you did any of that, what happened first? You thought about it. It came into your mind first. So from your mind and being able to take that thought and transfer it properly, that's how it became all these actions, and these actions become this novelty and new patterns and new things coming into your life. All that shit derived from the mind first, and the suggestion to yourself to dial back in. You feel me?
For sure. No. So now we get back into the whole phenomenological, subjective experience, consciousness, to thoughts, to putting the thoughts into action, taking action on it, focusing my energy, not letting it get too out of control, fucking with this, that, and the third shit I don't need. And then again, the part that I love to drive home, because I saw you did that video where you was doing the push-ups, and I want all the brothers to, like, man, if the people I do interact with, I want everybody's line about, man, get your workout game in, fitness game got to be it, diet game got to be it, because it's like literally free energy. Like I've talked about that for years. Get the free energy, the fasting shit, everything you can do, or even better yet, not do, that allows you to operate in an optimal way. When you start tapping in on this shit, you're like, well, why the fuck am I going to go deal with these fuck niggas over here or this type of shit on TV when I'm getting free energy by just not opting into that, just opting out of that bullshit? I'm cool off that. And I guess within the transition, it might seem boring, it might seem whatever, but I don't know, fam. Doing that, just taking care of my energy, my swagger, exuding that swagger, just putting a force field around myself. I'm like in this weird pocket of reality where it's like, damn, everything I think of, start putting enough intent into, shit just happens. And it is damn near happening better than I even thought in the first place. It's crazy, fam.
And let me add to one of your main points. I know you're heavy on the fitness and have your body tuned in. And the more tuned in your body is, the less you're going to be influenced by parasites. That means like the more your thoughts are yours. So the more your thoughts are yours, the more you can manifest clearly, you know?
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, everybody got them. Like I haven't done a prolonged fast in a little bit, and I know, because I wasn't going to do like a parasite cleanse or anything like that. It's not like I saw some crazy parasites, but I know for a fact that there was one point in my fast, like I'm not gonna get too detailed, not too much TMI, but it was like days in, like six days in, where like I had to evacuate. You feel me? There's nothing in my system, and that shit was just like horrible, to tell the truth. But here's the most interesting part. Before that, I was about to break. I was about to eat food. I was going crazy. I was like, fuck it. All type of excuses were coming to my head to do this and do that. The second that I got that out of my system, my mind changed instantly. Yo, it's hard for me to explain to people. It was like there was a literal demon, dog. The way that my psyche changed the second that I left the bathroom, I was like, yo, this is really next level. Whatever was happening in that moment was like the last death cries of something trying to get me to eat some sugar or eat something or do something to get it to like be able to sustain itself and not be like rejected from the body. Just like they say in the Bible, how prayer gets demons and fucking parasites out the body. Prayer and fasting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I've had a lot of experience with fasting, and from intermittent fasting to more prolonged fasting. So like I got it down to a point where understanding, yeah, you fast. I fast so much and have done it so much that like if you get to a 5 day, 6 day fast, yes, your body's going to freak the fuck out because yes, most people, basically everybody has different types of parasitic infections, either different types or fungal overgrowths, yeast overgrowths, and they try to balance themselves out. They want you to keep eating certain things to feed them. And yes, they die off and have sort of a death cry of give me more, give me more, give me more. And they're going to try to make you feel like shit to try to make you eat the things that they want. And back to that, one of the biggest things to offset that is getting good sleep. But of course, fasting is notorious for fucking your sleep off. But if you can balance that out, yeah, it's going to shift your whole consciousness because you are going to essentially kill off a bunch of parasites. And yes, the parasites do release chemicals that influence your brain to make cravings for what they want to sustain themselves. And then there's the whole other outlook on like biological parasites or certain yeast overgrowths. The idea that if you consume certain foods that have preservatives and just all kind of shit, microplastics, things your body doesn't need, there's people who postulate that the parasites are there or form or arrive in various ways to help clear that out. So doing something like fasting, you get into this like autophagy cell repair stage, this detox stage. There's a lot I can go into that, but let's just say it this way. Fasting for days helps your body clear itself out. So it's possible that by getting out those other toxins, those other things, makes it to where the parasites don't need to be there anymore. So there's interesting things with that, but yeah, they still die. And then there's the idea that them dying can have certain side effects as well. So that whole parasite point in discussion is super interesting too. And then is just yet another sort of challenge you have to deal with. But then it begs the question of, well, let's try to keep your body in a more pristine state with what you eat. So you're not even going to allow yourself to be colonized by parasites or candida overgrowth or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, super interesting point. The fasting thing, like as of right now, I'm not going to eat anything till Tuesday and get back on the cycle that I was doing of weekly.
Yo. I see myself on the screen. You just fell out. Maybe his phone died. If you can hear me, if you can still hear me in the chat, like press 1 or say something.
What
AM1 just
new patterns I can run up. Go ahead, Doug. My bad.
No, you cut out, so I didn't. So that's why I started talking. You cut out like pretty early in what you were saying.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm like because the internet is tripping. My internet is glitching. What the fuck? Oh, that's why. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know how much of that you missed, but let me see. Well, I'm just rambling anyway. Oh, parasites cut the Wi-Fi. No, I went and looked at the chat and one cut out. Yeah, the parasite shit is a super interesting topic. Yeah, I've been noticing my internet. I tried to do a live stream the other day and my internet started acting up. So I got to really see what's up with this Cox cable shit. Pause, Cox cable.
Pause. So let me ask you, what's the longest fast you've done?
The longest I've ever done is, well, I did a 6-day fast one time, but it was like the majority of it was actually dry fasted. But it was, can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I did a dry fast like 5 days, 6 days. But I was sick though. It was because I had this crazy tonsil flare up and I couldn't eat or drink anything. And I lost like 20 pounds that week or 25 pounds. It was crazy. But as far as an intentional fast, I did 5 days where I intentionally did it. But it wasn't dry fasted though. You understand what I'm saying with regular water fast, had teas in the mix and
Yeah, there's a hard fast, dry fast, or whatever. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
I was just straight.
hard fast or soft fast or whatever. Hard, dry fast, and they got water fast or whatever. But normally
Exactly.
there's, yeah, I'm sure you done all this research. Like a hard, dry fast is where you like don't even brush your teeth or any of that shit. You know, you don't come in
Exactly.
contact with water. But
Right.
yeah, they're super. I haven't done like I've only done like a day dry fasting, but I've done like very long prolonged like fast. Like I've done like weeks a whole bunch of times. I've done 10, 13 days a whole bunch of times. I've done like 21 days, my longest.
Damn, that's crazy. I never got close to that. Never, which is wild. I don't even think I have enough body fat to pull that off, which is wild. Or I guess, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if
That's what
that's
I'm
even
saying.
a.
It's probably achievable for you, but I'm gonna be real. It's probably easier for me because I got like I got some body fat on me, you know. And I like because
Yeah.
when I did the 21 day one, like I was seeing I was still working, you know what I'm saying? So my homies were seeing me every
Oh,
day, and they
wow.
saw me change like in front of them, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, for
So
sure.
and then when you build yourself back up, that's when you look like totally different. Like people hadn't seen it in a while. I got around them. They're like, "What the fuck? Like you're glowing. Like your eyes look different. Like what the fuck? How do you like? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really notice it because you see
Definitely.
yourself every day. You know?
Damn, see, now my
So
turn keep cutting out.
what you say?
You hear me?
I can hear
Shit.
you. You started to cut a little bit, but I can hear you.
Yo.
I can hear you.
What's up with my stream, fam?
I guess he can't hear me. I can hear him. I can hear
Oh,
you.
now it's back. Yeah, I couldn't hear you. Okay, it was tripping.
Let me
Uh,
look, we have some chats in here. Let me get these chats real quick. I know somebody said something to you. The conscious mind blocks and protects. The conscious mind blocks and protects. A confusion induction overwhelms the conscious mind, causing it to shut down, opening the door for subconscious manipulation. That's facts. Let me get off track. AM1, I agree entirely. When people have to know, they ironically don't seek knowledge, almost like failing at knowledge is scary. Knowledge is all about failing. You're never gonna get to the end of knowledge. If you feel like you got to the end of knowledge, that means you're just fucking probably a dumbass. Iota says, facts. I understand I will never know everything, but I won't but I but I want I
oh,
guess
but
I
I
meant
want to know.
but I
Yeah.
want to know everything and I'm cool with it. I only occupy this meat suit for so long. You know? It seems so, but I have theories about that too. I don't even know, like even if it's traumatic or even if you die on your deathbed surrounded by family, maybe you just wake up. Like I had a dream that I was surrounded by my family dying. You feel me? Because I don't want to get down this weird road, but I already had this experience. I heard somebody else on YouTube talk about it and shit like, and that's where they got into the ideas of the Bardos after I got into this because I had experience. I have one for sure where I feel like I could have died right then. You feel me? And there's a chance I did, and maybe I just got skipped forward. You feel me? Like it never stops. You understand what I'm saying? Like life, it just never fucking stops. You just, it's hard to explain, dog. It's so fucking insane. This is some insane shit.
No, I mean,
You
it
know?
seems a pretty straightforward idea. It seems crazy to me because it's like, wait, so I mean, don't get me started with such an idea like that. So you said you woke up and you were just instantaneously in the next progress on some new type of existence, or but having retaining your same, I don't know, consciousness of your personality, who you are now,
So
or you
well,
jumped ahead to some whole other
the
ball game. You see
timeline
what I'm saying?
becomes stranger, almost like they say, like we timeline shifted or whatever with some Mandela effect type shit. Let me give the example. I'll do it really quickly. So what I was watching was a guy talking about. He talks about all types of crazy shit, but he said he was on his property, cutting some trees down one day, and he said the tree fell weird and it was coming directly on him. And he's like, "Damn, I'm gonna die." Like he couldn't move, so he didn't move, and he kind of like went to like just take the brace of the whole tree killing him. But then it didn't hit him, and he looks up and it's caught in some weird way that doesn't make sense on the other trees and it just stopped right before it killed him. So he said from that point on his life became more interesting, as he would say, you know what I'm saying? And then when I was looking at my situation was like, let me without telling this long ass story, let's say I was crossing a specific road and I was not paying attention on some stupid shit, and when I got into the road, I wasn't looking properly. I hear a horn beeping and I hear tires screeching. I look up and the car is right there at my door, dog. Like it's there. Like the shit is hitting me. I don't feel an impact, but it's the car is there. It's next to me. There's no way for it not to hit me. And then I was just like, I remember becoming super calm. It's like time dilated. I was super calm. And I just remember thinking like, no, I remember thinking like, nah, no. The next thing I know, I'm across the street. I don't really remember shit. I'm like across the street. The guy and I'm slamming on the brakes, but I'm out the way across the street. I'm looking behind me in my rearview mirror. There's a car screeching with the smokes in the air, the lines are on the ground, right where I just was, screeching like on some Back to the Future type shit, you know? And when after that happened, I just kept it moving because I was so crazy. Like I couldn't get in that situation at the time. I was like, the feeling that came over me. I don't know if you ever had an experience with psychedelics, but it's like when you come back from a DMT trip. After that happened, when I was driving, I was just laughing like a madman, and like life became very strange after that. It became like I skipped timelines. You feel me? My life kind of turned up. It became like a movie. You know? So
I see.
so
Almost
so
like
I want.
a. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, I want you to go ahead and say what you're gonna say because I'm wondering if other people have like any experiences like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I see what you're almost like a. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like a timeline shift. Like you theoretically would have died had this car accident situation happened, but it didn't happen, and you kind of like I don't know glitched out from it in some
In
kind of
order
way, or it
in
did
order for it not to
happen.
happen, you have to go to a different timeline, and even if it's very close to what you were on, it's slightly different. Just like the Mandela effect. You understand how people are kind of argue that
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I don't think heard anybody who break something down quite like that. I remember this YouTuber that I used to listen to like over a decade ago. He talked about the idea of that he died. I forgot how he said what the circumstance of it, but then he died, but he wakes up and he's on a table and he feels like he's in like a prime reality situation. And there's people standing around him. Similar to what Jason talks about, like the idea of, we're plugged into some kind of simulation or whatever. You wake up from this. I think he more hypothesizes that, but I've heard this other guy say something of a similar kind of nature. Like he woke up and he was on a table and he realized that he was essentially had woken up from being inside of some kind of like dreams like scenario kind of situation. So then when you talked about the whole Bardo concept, it made me think, well, that's an interesting idea. Then when you get into people's DMT trip reports, the idea of going to what seems like this, I don't know, prime dimension thing that has a whole different kind of level of physics with these beings that it can interact with you and give you certain insights. And then even 5MO, what is it? 5MOA DMT is even crazier and takes you to even some crazier depth. I don't know, 13, 11 dimensional, blah, blah, blah. This stuff is super fascinating to me.
I would describe it as like a bit darker, like 5-MeO DMT, like it's found in like the Booth alpha, the Colorado river toad. I don't get into psychedelic shit on here because people tend to dismiss it. If I want to do it, I'm gonna do a channel on straight weird shit. If I'm gonna get into psychedelic experiences, I like to keep it close as grounded in science as I can. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get to psychedelic shit, people like try to dismiss it. But I wanted to mention this earlier, like when you just went back to it. I have had an experience before, like, and it's hard to explain. Like during having a psychedelic experience, it was like, it's like, how do I say this? Like an echo. Like I heard somebody else's memory and I could see it when I heard it. Like this is very strange. And the memory was some other thing being sitting up, being like, oh shit. And he's describing to those other beings around him his experience. And his experience, whatever he did, maybe he tripped or whatever, his experience was me. And he was telling the other motherfucker saying like, yo, I was like on this place, it was called Earth. They had different races. I was a black guy. I could eat food and get bigger. I could work out and get stronger. I was suffering and shit. I was dealing with sadness. There was very high levels of joy in this, like the emotional level that they're writing all these notes down and shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like my experience was just somebody else's like tripping balls, you know? So I'm like, so, but what takes away validity from that? It's just what other people are saying, like being plugged in or being plugged in. And what's the difference? Even if this echo of a memory that I thought I experienced or heard, that could just be me, like you were saying before. Like that's you plugged into the simulation or whatever, and maybe that was just a crossing of the wires or some shit. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, yes, and that opens up a whole other can of worms because I've heard people postulate and speculate on ideas like, what if what we're dealing with here is a situation where, let's say, if they want to claim that there's 8 billion people here, well, what if some of these people, let's just say half the people for easy numbers, 4 billion of these people are just NPCs. So they're like organic portal, aka not sold humans, and they're basically a part of the background NPC kind of thing, to use that game analogy. Now let's say the other 4 billion people are real people. Now imagine, what if there's only, let's say, 4 million actually sold beings here? And what if those sold beings are actually piloting what would the math be? 1 million of the people here, and simultaneously living through these people in their lives, similar to where you said, I mean, that I'm just taking what you're saying to take it to another dimension or another level. But I've heard people say that what we're dealing with possibly is the idea, like Jason says, the oversoul concept. But again, this guy I heard, who was it? It might have been Robert Morning Sky. Somebody postulated the idea that there's like a prime being. That being is actually piloting like 1 million, what we would consider as us's at the same time, downloading all that information, having those existences. And even some of those are like spread out across different timelines, because these beings are operating from like a dimension outside of time. So like imagine you being able to walk up to like a wall with a bunch of video screens on it, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna watch that life, that life, that life, that life, and these lives are across all kind of different timelines throughout history, and you're able to absorb these all at once. Now imagine if you could insert yourself into those realities and actually pilot those bodies and live those people's experiences, and then you like sort of extract that, but you're just one singular being doing it all simultaneously. Interesting idea. So yeah, some of the stuff you think is weird, I'm ready to go down those roads for sure. Like all of that stuff is on the table for me, and I just see it as all interesting because again, we don't know what we're dealing with. I'm down to go for what people are saying in their trip reports. I mean, I've never done DMT, but I've had countless experiences with, what is it, a lysergic acid, diethylamide, psilocybin. That was my preferred joint back then. I had fucking LSD before I ever hit some weed, so that's like my OG. That was my first ever.
Because you're like
Right.
you're in that small club too. Because before I smoked herb, I did shrooms before I did anything. You know.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. Like I almost think it like flipped something, like flipped the wiring in some kind of way, because obviously I'm a big fan of weed, like just the mind altering state of that. I like the mind altering state, period. But something about the psychedelic situation, there's times where I fucked around and found out, like having some LSD, and then on the downside of it, thinking, oh, I want to ramp this back up and power this back up, and then like hit a blunt after it, thinking I was just gonna like ramp the effect back up because I had a good trip, and then it just dropped me into some whole other dimension that was like total meltdown. And it was like, okay, now I feel like I just took like 100 hits.
Yeah,
and
depending where it's from, who grew it, what cross it is, how much they fucked up the THC percentage in the plant and fucked up the other cannabinoids that balances it out. It's gonna hit that shit, and then again, especially when you're on like either DMT or acid. Also, you'll get it. You're gonna get the personality of the plant. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you gotta be very careful with that shit. Like when you get into like doing, you know, in South America they call them like dietas. You can do a dieta with anything. So you could like you might get a whatever you want to call it, a feeling, an idea, a channel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you're like, I feel like I need to just work with the mint for this long. So a motherfucker will have mint tea every day. He'll smoke the mint. He'll do everything with the mint to get into the feeling of that specific plant. And you can go through all different dietas. And one thing I know for sure is when you do certain combinations, when you get into changa, which is just like a smokable version of ayahuasca, you can add different plants to it and get, because you know there's all different recipes down there. All you need to do is get the right alkaloids together, but all the shamans have their different recipes. So once you start understanding plants, you can start understanding the plant's personalities. So I'm just saying that to say, like, probably add onto your experience. Like that's what probably drove you down the direction, especially this super like strong weed. You know what I'm saying? That's not supposed to be like that.
No, that's a very interesting point. And like at this time in my life where I was running this up, like, yeah, I mean, we was blowing all kind of weed, so it was no big deal. And you know, this is Cali like bomb. We was getting like dope shit that we was blowing all the time, so that was no big deal. So it was like the same blunt I could hit one day, hit it on the tail end of an acid trip, and then it just sends it through the roof. Now I'm only saying that because just even reflecting back on the idea that I had acid before I ever smoked weed. So from a standpoint of like, you know, they say like LSD sort of has the potential to rewire your brain in a certain way. So it's something I just speculated on right now. Maybe having that first, in my first time having it, bro, I was like fucking 13 or some shit. just to add that extra variable in the mix. So there's that. I remember I had this sun with these shades on. I remember it very well. Like the blotter hits, like 2 hits of this fucking acid. I remember taking that to my friend's house, and then his dad came home, and his dad was mad at him. So then he basically kicked me out. He's like, "You gotta go." I was like, "Gotta go?" You know, I just took those 2 bladder hits, so I had to like walk all the way home. This was wild. And my parents was home. It was just stupid. I was like 13, like middle school or some shit. But I just said it to say, I wonder if it has some impact on how weed then interacts with, or how, like from a psychedelic standpoint, how weed, which is a psychedelic in its own way, but you know, THC versus the lysergic acid or psilocybin, how those things intermingle with each other. Maybe because of the young age and having it first rewired my brain in such a way. Because I say this to say, I know people that partied with, kicked it with, dropped a bunch of acid, then blew like back-to-back blunts on top of it and was like, yeah, no big deal. And I'm like, what? When I do that, I have total meltdown visuals and just like, I'm hearing sounds and seeing walls melt, like as if I took like hero doses. You see what I'm saying?
And I feel you. It's still like everybody's biology is different, and you're tapped in a different way. You know, like to me, that's just in the same categories of herbs. But what I was going to ask you, I want to ask you, have you ever read the Harvard LSD studies?
I don't think so.
Well, that's very interesting.
Or if I did, I don't know. I didn't reference them that way. But go ahead.
Well, if you wanted to find them, it's pretty easy to find them. Probably it's always on. It's still on Reddit. And I've read like years and years ago, and every time I go back, it's there. So yeah, it just breaks down Harvard LSD stories and the potentials for learning. It's like when I was getting into psychedelics and shit, it was more about I wanted to learn. I wanted to know more shit. And the more I got into them and playing around with them, like there's some experiences I had that let me know the potential. Like when I mentioned earlier about time dilation, like I used to like to take like a gramish of shrooms and then lay down in the dark in my room, just lay down and just let whatever thoughts come, you know? Just observe my thoughts, my eyes closed in the dark. And this has happened a few times. And I was just like, so I'm there having my thoughts, whatever. You're going down. I forgot what I was thinking about. That's not what's important, but it was probably some cool shit. I remember I was thinking. And when I'm having this like line of thought, I start hearing somebody snore, you know? And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck is snoring? Like, there's nobody in my house. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh shit, that was me.
You.
That means I maintain thought all the way into full sleep. What is the implication of that? And holding on to that and learn that was what's interesting to me, and learning and time dilation. I'm like, so what do I do now? Do I play something and listen to it when I go into the state? Is that going to keep me from going into the state? Do I just need to set the suggestion to myself that this is what I want to research and look into, or do you just keep thinking, or you just keep thinking and hope you don't wake yourself up? You go down a line of thought and you just go there and hope you just go into this, immerse yourself into this thing, and then you wake up so many hours later, but who knows how many hours later, outside of time, you know? That's what's interesting to me, the learning application.
Yeah, no, wow, that's interesting how you broke that down, and just the idea that you, at least the idea sparked in your mind of, if I heard that right, giving yourself programs or commands, kind of front loading it, and just even speculating on how you could do it or how you would do that. And that brings up, I remember one time, damn, this was back in the 90s, still lived at my parents' house. I told myself, so I wanted to watch some Rap City shit that was coming on in the morning because they were going to play some video that I wanted to see. And I was like, wake up at 7:30, wake up at
Facts.
7:30, wake up at 7:30, wake up at 7:30. And sure as shit, woke up, looked 7:30. So the idea of programming yourself. So now the idea of taking that and taking it into a psilocybin trip. Wow. But cross-referencing that with the idea of that you heard yourself snoring. So then that borderlines into the whole idea of like a, sleep paralysis transition, consciousness continuity while your body falls asleep, body asleep, mind awake. I mean, that's the precursor direct concept of the whole initiation to a out-of-body experience, astral travel concept. So that's an interesting overlap, but in like a psilocybin-induced state. Interesting, because I've done that before. Take some shrooms and just lay there, just see what happens, and found myself in some very interesting thought processes, and to the point where it's like, okay, I don't even need this body. I'm perfectly fine just laying here. I'm so disassociated from it to where it doesn't even matter. I'm off somewhere where I don't even need that thing. No fear, not even concept of dying. Just like I'm somewhere that's way more lively and more interesting than where I was just at. And for all I care, I don't even need to go back to that, it's almost startling to think how chill I was with that. And then find yourself fading out of it. And it's like, damn, I kind of want to go back. I want to go back, but I guess I got to go back.
For me to make that all comfortable and easier to do is like, I'm like a pretty, it might not sound like it, but I'm like a pretty practical person. So I had to like look at it like, oh yeah, you have like what is, yeah, like the bottom of your brain stem? Is that like, no, that's not the cerebral cortex. Why is this in my mind right now? But whatever, you have that part of your brain that you're designed to idle. You're designed to leave. I remember one time thinking, I'm crazy, I just remember this. I remember one time having an experience, and when I was like leaving myself, I remember thinking like, damn, who's gonna beat my heart and shit? You feel me? I was thinking like,
autonomic nervous system that just kind of runs on its own.
Yeah. Then I remember going back into myself, and then after that, having the thought like, yo, you're designed to idle. You're designed like this. Like that. You feel me? Then it became like more like smooth to like go over there and not worry about like yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, listen to your streams. You've talked about, because how did you say it? You were saying it in an interesting kind of way. It's not astral projection, but there was something else you were saying. Was it astral projection? Because what are your thoughts on that? Like the idea of like an actual idea of your consciousness, the you, that's your personality, you're aware that you're aware, separating from your physical body and moving into either what looks like a mirror of the physical reality, or for all intents and purposes it is, or you're in some kind of like quasi dreamlike state that overlaps into what appears to be a physical waking state reality. What's your take on that? Like the whole OBE astral projection concept. What do you think about that?
Well, it's like this. This is how I kind of looked at it. Because when I was getting into more like weird occult stuff and studying, when I first got into it, like connecting it from the quantum physics shit and understanding how that can actually work mechanically, there was things this was when I was super younger. So there were things I was playing around with. Like this is getting weird for people in the chat. Hit the like button, please. There were things I was playing around with. Pause. Like making people call you. Things like simple things like that. Making people call you, or maybe if you haven't spoken to a girl in a long time, you could call her on the phone, and then you'd end up speaking to her, and you would know the color of her fingernails instantly or some shit like that. There's certain practices that I was getting pretty on point with things like that, and that was coming from the basis of knowing how this thing can actually work scientifically. You know what I'm saying? So me knowing that things can be attached at any point in distance across time and space makes me think like, why can't I travel across any point in distance across time and space consciously? My consciousness is outside of myself, so it only makes sense that I should be able to do that, so as far as me like having out of body experiences, have had them as consciously going to places, like clearly, oh, I'm up out of here, boom, I'm going there. Not like that. I feel like I've influenced situations, but I haven't like constantly gone about. I've like like simple shit, like feeling yourself leaving yourself. There's simple things you can do for that. Like you get into like a meditative state, just laying down, and then you can imagine yourself, imagine the rope hanging down. You can imagine yourself reaching up and grabbing that rope, and you can pull yourself out of your body. You know, that's one of the ways people do it. But here's the thing. The most powerful way that you're gonna learn how to do anything, because your consciousness, I mean your imagination is the root of all this shit, is making up your own shit. And that's what people don't want to get into. And that's when it gets weird. But that's how. But it's not really that weird because that's what makes perfect sense. If the will always yield to imagination. You feel me? All the shit is based in imagination. That's the beginning and the end.
Okay, so wait, so this is interesting, and I heard you reference Robert Monroe, so you have that in common. So, and if you've read his stuff, then you understand that when he first had his first out of body experience, and then went on to develop the institute and whatnot, he said that he was able to do it in such a way and build a system to do it. Obviously, he got into the whole gateway, binaural beats, blah blah blah. But the idea of this, you, if I'm hearing this right, are referencing like an out of body experience from the concept of it's a subjective, self-contained imagination concept, or are you saying it from the perspective of, because I've read tons of books on this, because like I told you, the whole sleep paralysis thing I had for years in my youth and early teens. So then I went and read books about it and was like, oh, this is really a thing. So it happened to me before I ever read about it and knew about it. And then my mom said, oh, that happens to me too. And my little brother was like, oh, that happens to me too. My older brother was like, nah, I've never had that. But when I read about it, I was like, oh, this goes back like, thousands of years, mystics and whatnot doing this, and said that's the precursor to this thing where you actually leave your body. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? So then it led me to read all this different stuff. So as you said to say, are you looking at it from the context of it's a thing that is objectively something that's happening, but it's happening to that person, or purely from the idea that it's your imagination and you just walk yourself through it and you're visualizing these things versus it's happening? You see kind of the difference of what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, but I know why it's so difficult to say. It's like it, it can't be said. That's why it's gonna be strange. And people think I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny when I say like everything comes back to things that we dismiss as niggas, meaning nigga-isms. Everything is everything. That's basically what it means. Everything is everything. Everything is happening at once. Nothing is static. Like kind of like on some Terrence Howard show that he was talking. Here's some good things he said. Nothing is static. It's always moving. And the scientist guy who was trying to put him in his place, the small hat, like was trying to dismiss that. No, he's 100% right. Everything is always in motion, and everything is always inhaling and exhaling. You feel me? So that's how I look at the like consciousness in general. Now, there's it's good to bring it back to mundane shit. So there's like say Paris. There's an objective place called Paris that multiple people have been to, and we have like a consensus of what that is. So it is solidified in reality on a level. So somebody might have the idea of astral projection that, oh, I'm gonna lay down, I'm gonna fly out my body and fly through the air and be over here. Maybe that works for you. Maybe that might work for someone. But to me, if I'm thinking about astral projection, that doesn't make any sense to me because there is no need to fly or propel myself there. Everything is here and now. So I would just be there. So what I know I'm doing that. Maybe you've done that before and you don't know it because you weren't doing it consciously. You were walking in a different city in a dream or something. You're doing something that you were in a real place, but you didn't know where it was, or maybe you felt like you were somewhere else and you haven't been there before. You know what I'm saying? These are just all observations that you have to make for yourself. And I'm not gonna make any assumptions on it because like I really got deep into lucid dreaming. I didn't go deep into like trying to astral project. You know, I did some things, but I wouldn't say like I made like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Moscow. You know, like I never did shit like that.
Okay, no, I see what you're saying. You raise a good point because I'm definitely, it can entertain and accept the like non-locality idea. So it's like everything is everything and it's all everywhere anyway, because time, distance, locality is a fluid kind of thing. Pause, right? Because it's like a fractal kind of scenario. So if you can entertain that idea, then it's like, yeah, why move out into some non-physical realm and then still travel distance as if you were in a physical realm. Why not just be in Paris and observe whatever? So that's an interesting point. And if I'm remembering correctly, Robert Monroe and some other people, because I've read a lot of books on this stuff, and this was like 20 years ago when I was reading a lot of this stuff. There's people who describe the idea of jumping across time, jumping across different locations more instantaneously. And then I've heard descriptions of people actually traveling distances like flying. So they're doing it in a more vehicle kind of cover distance kind of way, meaning they could do it either way. Now, here's the thing. To your point, I actually have had the full cascade and sequence of events that have been detailed in tons of books that I've read that would say and qualify as a full-on out-of-body experience OBE situation. But again, I still look at it from like an objective journalism concept. I have no way to prove it to anyone else. And I can't even prove to myself that it wasn't just some kind of dream or hallucination, meaning I don't, it was intentional. Yes. Yes. That's the thing. Like I've actually got it to a point where I could do certain things and reach this state where I would get to that sleep paralysis thing that used to happen on accident unintentionally. I got it to a point where I could do it on purpose and then create the cascade of events where it's, oh, sleep paralysis, this vibration thing, focus on the vibrations through your whole body, vibrations get more intense. And then there's like this climactic pop kind of thing. Then there's this clearing. And then all of a sudden you realize you're more or less this more amorphous, less tangible version of yourself. You're some kind of point of consciousness. Then you kind of have to get your bearings and realize, okay, I'm in some room, or this is my bedroom. In various instances where it's like my vision doesn't work right, and then I have to almost dial it in, and okay, I can see the room now. I understand this window is right here. Let me move through this window, move through the window. Now I'm like literally like almost hanging on the side of my apartment building. Let me jump to this other. I've had these kind of sequences happen, but I can still be objective enough about it to say, okay, this seemed kind of quasi dreamlike. So I don't know, but this definitely fits the description of all these, reports that I've read about. So what are we doing? Right. Interesting.
I feel like explaining that to people or other people believing it is very unimportant. It might be nice, but it's very important because getting somebody to understand that would mean you need to understand the workings of the mechanism and not just how to work the mechanism. You understand what I'm saying? And that might take a lot of fucking. It might be possible. It might not be possible. But what you do know
Right.
now is how to work the mechanism. So you should see what you should do with that. I wouldn't doubt it, because who gives a fuck what anybody else feels? Maybe you get some utility out of it. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm all about. I'm all about results and utility. So if I get something out of it, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how crazy you think it is. And here's one of the main things, like not giving a fuck what people think. There's a lot of crazy shit you probably should be doing. You probably should be moving your body a lot more. Like when you go to the park and you're doing these static exercises, no matter even if you're doing like hit exercises, you probably should be moving like a little kid a lot more, because that's probably what's really cleaning out your lymphatic system and doing all this extra weird shit that would make you look like a weird adult. You understand what I'm saying? Even things, and I said as above, so below. So probably getting out of that mode will probably might even open up something spiritual for you. You feel me? Just like it's connected to your just like we were talking about the intestine and the digestive system earlier. So I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that seem abnormal that are not easy to explain that are applicable and have utility. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like this. And this is me speaking. I'm speaking to myself a lot when I speak. And here's me speaking to myself and speaking to you. I haven't made music in a long time or painted or done anything because I've been like real busy working. And I feel like me not painting and doing music is fucking up my business. It's and it's not even direct correlation. It's more like my shit flows better when I'm tapping into the chaos field more often. You feel me? Your ideas get bigger, and I feel like these creative things that we put to the side for mundane life are very important in conjunction with mundane life and actually make your mundane life easier. But everybody puts their their creativity to their side, and their creativity is connected directly to your imagination. And what are we talking about right
Right.
now? Your imagination is running all this shit. You know,
For sure.
think about the self satisfaction. The like, even if you want to bring it to a low level, like a dopamine release. When like, I don't know if you do anything creative, but if you make a crazy beat or some shit like that, and you're just there zoning by yourself, you're never gonna play it for anybody. You feel me? You're never gonna post it. You just completed the shit. And you're just in your zone. There's just a I don't know how to describe it, like a magical. It's like your aura is building. You feel me? That's the only way to explain it. It feels like you're expanding. It's kind of like when you do martial arts, like your vision expands. Like, how do I explain it? The width of your vision expands. Like, you understand like the what I'm saying, like the circle of your vision. Have you ever trained like martial arts? Like, you know how you put your hands all the way. If you spread your arms all the way across from yourselves, if you move your
Yeah,
fingertips,
like
you kind of see
field of view, this field of
yeah,
view expansion. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like locking into that on the other side, just more clear. You can see more within the scope of what you can see. You
Well,
understand
here's
what
the
I'm saying?
thing. Like you talk about the music thing. I used to rap, make beats, and all this type of shit. But I've been drawing like illustration. I'm pretty handy with drawing graffiti characters, anime characters back in the day, which led me to what I do now. Like I'm a motion graphic designer, a videographer. That's what I do for a living. So my whole work is all about creativity. So that point, working out more, better sleep, tapping into that, and then literally doing my creative work. It was one big feedback loop of being able to sort of, the word popped in my mind as you were talking, conjure that energy from out of the field and use that to cultivate other parts of your life. Well, for me, my life is so contained to where it's like either work out in both of those things, shake the other hand and make the other hand stronger. They're both arm wrestling each other or working together. So, diet, sleep, fitness versus or working with in collaboration with the just sheer creativity side. And then interestingly enough, my livelihood is tied into all that too. So, but I just say that to say the point you made, and you were talking to yourself, but it's like, yeah, tap back into that creative artistry to make your work and life flow better, get those pattern breaks in with the creativity. And then I would even argue, shit, you on East Coast, what is it? One there now? The sleep game. Woo, you got to get the sleep hygiene dialed in for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm usually like up working at this time and shit. Like I'll do like sometimes I'll go live and I'll just go to the office after this. You feel me? I like to work out, sleep later, go hit the gym, get a couple hours in, lift some weights, and then like
Wait,
if I do
because
something
are you in
creative.
a 40? You're in a 40 club, right? You're past 40, yeah.
No, I'm close. I'm close. I'm
Oh,
38.
okay. Ah, yeah, man. Yeah, that the pulling the late nighter, all nighter ish kind of shit. That's I don't know, not to put it out there like that, but I was talking to the homie the other day about that, trying to get on this fitness game. He's 42, but I'm like that. Ugh. I used to be like that of late, turning in late nights, and it served me not well to the point where I was like, okay, I gotta definitely go to sleep earlier, wake up earlier, and do it that way. Which for years I fought myself on that, but I wish I would have got it sooner. Because it's
Definitely
something
not the
about getting
best,
that
but
sleep in. Yeah.
but it's like it's a very fine line for me though, because more sleep is better. But sometimes if I sleep too much, I feel like it just makes me like tired. Like I'll just be too tired. Like there's a sweet spot, especially if I'm eating right. I feel like 4 hours, 5 hours is enough for me, bro. I can get some good sleep, especially if I'm eating right. If you're eating shitty, you need more sleep than that. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm curious, just to put this out here, not to say I have all the answers, but what do you think about this? And I've heard people talk about this, the idea of getting sleep and making it align with the circadian rhythms, like how obviously the sky clock is moving up, sun is going down, sort of syncing yourself with that. So then based on that speculation, depending on time of the year, they say roughly between 10 and 2 in the morning is when you're going to get the best sleep, like from a deeper REM sleep, theta wave transition through all the different wavelengths as you sleep. But for something about that sweet spot between 10 and 2, that 4 hour period right there, where you're going to get the
10
most
and
optimal. Yeah, I've
I
heard people
don't
talk about that.
I don't doubt that. I haven't heard much about that, but it makes sense to me because I was thinking like, oh, from 10 to 2, so you get some good sleep right there. And I feel like if you wake up at 2, that means by the time 3 a.m. rolls around, you're like got energy in that super creative time of the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Whenever I'm up super late, back, especially when I was making a lot of art, like it was between like 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning was when I feel like I made the best shit. When like, and I used to attribute it. This probably makes no sense, but I used to attribute it to like people being asleep and then not all that fucking chatter being out of the air, all the worry being out of the air. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, it's way
No,
lower. So.
I know exactly what you mean. But no, just to be clear, when they were saying the 10 and 2 thing, they were saying like in theory, if you laid down, because there's different like sleep brainwave states while you sleep, right? You're going into these different sleep states, the REM sleep, and you come out of that, then you're cycling through these different sleep patterns. So they're saying if you lay down at 9, then got into whatever deeper REM, whatever the brainwave state is that you would get into REM sleep, and if you can catch that between 10 and 2, then what's going to happen is you're going to shift into this other brainwave state around 4 or 5, 6. Then you would start to naturally wake up. And if you did that enough times, then you would get the most like regenerative sleep from like a physiological standpoint. And then, of course, there's the whole thing of where your consciousness is going and how you're resetting there. And that whole potential time dilation thing on that. So I'm kind of like adding in the extra layer of that theory to it. But at least from a physiological repair state, syncing your body with how the sky clock moves. And notice how I keep using that phrase, but basically it's the sun, right? Because the sun's going to come back up at a certain time, depending on the time of the year, but you're syncing yourself up with nature. It's just basically what I'm getting at. How that would be optimal. Circadian rhythm, exactly.
Yeah, circadian rhythm, yeah.
So I just say that to say, I think I've taken a lot of L's, because remember I told you like in my teens, I would fuck my sleep all up because I would be up writing raps and then be out kicking it, blowing weed till fucking 3 in the morning, whatever, kicking with, older homies, drinking 40s and all kind of fuckery. But I was like literally afraid to go to sleep because of the sleep paralysis shit. Right. Because that was just happening to me. And I didn't have the best way to stop it was just to blow hella weed. It was blowing blunts in the 90s, like stupid.
I'm just wondering if there's a correlation between like getting lit earlier in life and having sleep paralysis, because I didn't really I tripped shrooms when I was like 16 or something, like once, but that was it. I didn't even smoke weed or nothing until I was like 18. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like because I tried to smoke weed and I just didn't get high, and I thought it was stupid. I was like, "Why are you guys buying this shit?" So I smoked like 10 times and never got high. You feel me? All my homies were like weed heads. So
yeah,
what I'm saying, I didn't burn till like 18. So I'm like, I see other people who got it. Is there a correlation between that, the sleep paralysis, and the getting lit earlier in life, maybe before like a certain part of your brain develops or some shit like that?
That's an interesting idea. For me in particular. Oh, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you straight up. What is your idea of this? Do you feel like this is some like psychological thing, or you feel like you're having like a spiritual experience? Are you seeing something? Is it a feeling, or what is it?
You mean as far as like this? I mean, my personal experience, to call it a spiritual experience, I don't like to use a word like that, because I try to be more like a journalist about it, stay more objective. Like, I'm not sure what it is. I've heard people try to describe it as some kind of mystic experience. There's the idea that consciousness, what is that? Does it originate from some kind of like primary field, realm, spirit world, whatever, the backdrop to what we're experiencing as a physical reality? If you get out of your body, are you essentially ditching the body, so you're essentially back in the field? Is this where a discarnate body goes? So is sleep paralysis some kind of mechanism where you're separating from what would be considered as your physical body? So you're feeling some kind of like sensation, some electrical impulses as your, energy field body separates and now moves back into this other field. I've heard people describe it in all kinds of different ways. But from what happened to me, I don't know, but I've definitely felt the things that I've heard people discuss. But the thing is, and I can be honest and say, does it feel like that because I read about that? But what I know for sure is I had sleep paralysis before I ever read about sleep paralysis and out-of-body experiences. So at least I have, you see what I'm saying?
I've heard different things from people. That's why, like, I understand all the theoretical thing. I've read about it like crazy too, and I've only like kind of halfway had it one time. That's why I like. I know how you're saying you want to look at it, but I feel like I can read that. That shit doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is like, what was your personal experience? Because I heard other people say like, oh yeah, like just can't move, whatever. I can't really see anything. I saw other people say like they feel like something's sitting on their chest and they can see it. You know what I'm saying? So weird shit like
Hmm.
that. Like I'm just wondering. I'm not even saying weird to dismiss it. I'm just saying like that is strange. So I'm wondering like what is your experience? Are you seeing something? Are you just like are
Oh,
you eyes open, eyes
okay.
closed? Like what's going on?
Yeah, no. So basically, like I've had sleep paralysis countless times. So before the vast majority of the times, I'd say 99% of the time, I couldn't see anything. And in the times where I thought my eyes were open, I still couldn't really make out anything in a clear way. So, in my experience, I've heard people talk about it happening with their eyes open. It's never happened for me, by and large, with my eyes open to where I could make out anything for sure. I have been able to hear sounds that are
Mm,
crazy. I've heard growling sounds. I've heard
mm.
sounds that were sounded peaceful where they're like somebody's calling my name. I've heard even music that sounds like some kind of crazy chord structures that would be like almost some kind of angelic music scenario. And then of course there's the sleep paralysis notorious like roaring buzzing kind of situation that sounds like a train, how a train sounds when it's passing, but imagine that like in stereo in your head and outside around you. So there's like roaring, rushing, like static noise. So there's that. I've had it to where, yeah, you can't move, you're trying to talk, but it's this muffled thing that just makes you panic and your anxiety even more because you can't move, you can't talk, and you do feel like you're being pinned down. I've never been able to see any kind of like, old hag, something sitting on me. I've never had that. But I have heard a situation where I was pinned down, I couldn't move, and I heard like a growling kind of sound, which was very off putting. As
That's
if just the
unsettling.
sheer fact that you can't move is already bad enough. So that shit would sooner or later you can like wiggle your toes and then kind of bail out of it. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, man, just now thinking about like back to back nights. Uh, as a kid, it was teenage years where it just hit me. And then it's like, I get up and turn all the lights on in the room and turn on the TV, watching old Star Trek episodes, trying to like fake myself out of going to sleep because it just was scaring the shit out of me.
That seems annoying
Uh,
as shit, bro. That seems annoying as
Annoying
shit.
slash terrifying slash, and now imagine not being able to sleep for back to back days. You got to still get up and go to school in the morning, and how that's going to impact your fucking quality of life over
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. 'Cause
time.
I've had like crazy sleep, like sleepwalking, like all types of weird shit when I was younger. But that I don't think I never had a sleeper like when you were just describing it. I've had that one time, but I always think like, do I just not give a shit? Because I remember waking up and being like trying to move, and I was like, I guess I couldn't move. I was like, what the fuck? Then I tried to talk, and I was like, "Ugh," like I was just making, felt like I was just making
Yeah,
noises, like I couldn't talk, and I was like.
yeah,
I don't know how long I tried to do that, but I never really got scared. I guess then I was just like, I guess I'm not supposed to wake up yet. I just closed my eyes. I went back to sleep.
yeah. No, that's happened too, where you just kind of ignore it. But for some reason, like my sleep dream situation, like having a super lucid dream and something about it is really bizarre. And then I almost like wake up inside the dream and it's almost like a weird panic in the dream. And then I realize, oh, wait a minute, how am I panicking in the dream? Wait, I'm aware that I'm in the dream. And then it's some weird bam. It like hits me in this weird sort of way to where I'm like back in my bed, but I'm pinned down and it's like, fuck, I can't move. It's like, I can't move. I can't see shit. I can't talk. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
then
what's happening.
finally I can move and I break out of it. And it's like, fuck, that was fucked up. And it always happens in a way where it hasn't happened in months. So it catches me slipping off guard to where it's like, fuck.
That's crazy to me. Like, because
or
I had,
or then it'll happen back to back nights after that to where it's like, fucking name not this shit again.
if I had those experiences, I'd be very interested in them. Like, I'd be trying to like, you know, I'd be trying to, I don't know, either do something about it or figure out some utility for it. Like, what the
Well,
fuck is going on with this? Just start
that's
playing
what
around
had
with it.
me looking at fucking the so-called new age section at Barnes and Nobles in the fucking 90s, looking at these different books and buying these different books. And that's how I came across the Robert Monroe shit and was like, Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, got the whole shit. I got that shit back at the town, the book collection. Then other shit.
Did anything help anything, or is it just neutral?
Well, it got to a point where it was kind of empowering the idea that they were like, yeah, that's the precursor thing to getting out of your body. And this is something that like high level mystics have been trying to master how to do for centuries, for millennia. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting way to put it. Then looking at Robert Monroe and some of these other people talking about getting out of their body and this journeys they were able to do, then I was like, damn, I can't get past the whole fear of just not being able to move. But they're saying, yeah, once you can get past that part, that's when this whole extra dimension is out there for you. And then they figured out ways to do it where they could do team excursions and journeys where they could like objectively come back and be like, yeah, we all experienced the same thing. It can give independent reports of it to where it like implies that it is some kind of like secondary layer of reality or primary layer of reality when you could put it in a more objective kind of way where multiple people can report on the same thing. So I'm, going into my late teens, 20s, fascinated about the implications of that.
Yeah, I've gotten firsthand accounts of that too. Like I read it, and then I met some people in the scientific field that had done that before, and they were experimenting in groups. They were doing intermuscular ketamine injections, like some military grade shit. And they said they put them into a state where they go into a different world. And the guy was just describing like they could meet each other and they can build worlds in conjunction with each other. So it seems really interesting, And that's somebody I know from somebody directly I trust, who I know is like, a trained chemist and shit. So I know they're not bullshitting. They could be lying.
So you see,
I highly doubt it.
The implications of what that would mean, the idea of getting into some altered state, but then other people being able to join you there, then it's like, okay, that's almost like the closest you can get to some kind of proof that there's some kind of other dimension where consciousness could expand into, and then other people can go there and create like another mini consensus reality or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting shit.
Even like the black guy, the kung fu guy that also known for the psychedelics, Kalindi, he was talking about like what they were doing. Kalindi was like known for like taking like 14, 30 grams of shrooms and shit. So but he was saying like he's like, I don't recommend everybody do this. We're trying to get into these deep states and go into these other worlds. And he was saying that they were working with the group he was working with, they'd like go into these states and do something similar to what I was speaking of earlier. Like they go and work in time dilated spaces. So they say they'd be going and doing work and studying over there for years at a time in a trip. It'd be like 5 years of study when you come back from the trip or whatever they were trying to get into. But it's very interesting stuff. But I'm saying, to me, it gives more validity to the idea because it's coming from so many different angles. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, like obviously people's time dilation concepts with their DMT reports and psilocybin trip reports. I mean, even in my own psilocybin experiences, I've had all kind of time distorted kind of situations for sure. Obviously, LSD is notorious for time distortions.
Time dilation and distortion was makes people like worry a lot. That's why you should think about these things before you get into it. Most people don't. You're just taking these things or whatever. But I'm like, I think that's why I never had a bad trip, because I always thought about these things before I went in. I always kept in my mind. I always kept in my mind very clearly that you're taking something and it ends. This has been studied. It's been repeated over and over again. Like I never worry about the time dilation and crazy shit like that. But I've had tough trips, but I wouldn't call them bad. Like I've heard people describe like having bad trips. I'm like, God damn, bro, like you're going through it. Like, what's wrong with you? But
we got to share on that one day, because I've had what at the time was very not cool, not comfortable, and ideal. But then when I look back on what I would consider bad trips and be like, those are the most profound shit on a lot of levels. Challenging, it's an interesting way to put it.
It's kind of like that's what I'm saying. There's a difference. It's kind of like you did work, but there's somebody else I can ask a question about their bad trip, and they'll say like, "No, that was just terrifying." You know what I'm saying? They'll say like, they didn't. Nothing really came from that, which is a smaller group. I feel like most people, especially people who are tuned in, like they'll have a challenging experience or whatever, And then on the back end they're like, yo, that was dope. I'm glad I went through that. It's kind of like it's almost like the hero's journey. It almost feels like you accomplished something. It's very strange. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's
Yeah,
always
no, I totally agree. Like I've actually had the trips where it's like just laugh fucking fits for hours and hours and just all fun and games. And then I've had the ones where it's like, wait a minute, this got really weird and dark real quick, but some things are happening within this that are making me ask certain questions and think certain things I've never thought and totally uncomfortable. I don't like my sensory perception inputs right now. This does not feel good. My motor skills are even off, along with the fact that my hearing, I feel like I can hear what's going on in the other room better than what I can hear in here. This fucking TV is too loud. Turn that off. Oh, it is off? What the fuck? Like this type of shit. Yeah.
well.
And then
No, but anything you're
I'll leave
saying,
it up. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying anything you're saying is not gonna sound weird to me. Like it's like you started earlier than I did, but I've definitely been down the psychonaut path. You feel me? Like for like months at a time, experiencing things, and but it's very interesting. I like the only way I can describe it is like call it the psychedelic lifestyle because if you just do this here and there, it might be
Oh
odd,
man.
but and it's hard to get into. It's difficult to get into. But once you're into it, you enter a flow state. It's very strange. Like it's like for
Oh,
months
for
and months.
sure.
Every morning when I wake up, I make my tea and I have like a big spoonful of mushroom honey in it that I've been like have like marinating for like months and months in the cabinet.
Oh, so it's like a daily microdose kind of situation.
Yeah, but a big spoonful, that's goddamn over a half a gram equivalent, like at least, you
Oh
know.
shit.
So like,
Wow,
but
honey.
during that, but
That's
thinking back, it was a very dreamy time in my life. But I did a lot. I read a lot of fucking books. I worked out a lot. I got a lot of shit done. You feel me? But it just it's hard to describe. Yeah, I'd have to do a whole show on that, like more on like these
wow.
ideas of psychedelics and getting into these different modes and using them and utilizing them for learning or enhancing a different thing. Because that's what I like to talk about. Like everybody can have their crazy trips, but I had a homie like I'm not a gamer. I'm not into video games and shit. But I have a homie who is a gamer. So back in the days, he used to come to my spot because I had a projector, and he was a really a gamer too. So he pulled with his projector sometimes, and like we're playing the shit on two projectors, the different walls. We're playing video games and shit. So and sometimes we like drop some acid and play the video games. And I'm not that great at video games. And but when the acid would hit, this has to happen more than one time where it was incredible. I was incredibly good at the game. My boy was, I mean, like shit that I couldn't do to the point where I was looking at my hands and I wouldn't mess up until I get astonished by what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be so quick. I mean, like I wish this was recorded because it's amazing. You know, so that made me think of like the implications of what you can really do with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I have homies do all types of weird shit, like do jujitsu, and they've gone to competitions, tripping and shit like that, and like won the competitions. So
Yeah, I've heard about that kind of shit for sure. Damn, yeah, I wish like there's times where I was on runs like that, but it's the time in my life where I fucked with a lot of this shit. I was just on some fuckery, like rap fun bullshit. I guess maybe making beats and freestyle sessions. And I mean, you were talking earlier about freestyle. I used to rap and be able to freestyle and have like the bars lined up minutes ahead and just have this shit flow in my mind so easily. It was bonkers.
so you
But
understand
I'm
what
just,
that is. You understand
oh, for
what I
sure.
was saying earlier,
Yeah,
like the
when you,
implications of
yeah,
that. Like most people who can't
for
do it on a
sure.
high level or never done it on a high level, they don't understand like and even the like just niggas we've been programmed that any of our art or any of our like sciences is just bullshit. It's just bullshit that a small hacker use can get to get money. It's nothing beyond that. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, this is some next level shit that you're doing. And if you could do that, think about doing that with equations. You're
Right.
thinking about doing that with formulas. When you understand the different reactions between different chemicals and chemistry, and you can keep mixing them and going back and forth in your mind, undoing the experiment, redoing the experiment. What will happen in the future? What happened in the past? What's happening right now? That's that's really living omnipresent. That's God mode shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know, we pulling up on 3 hours, bruh. It's been a
I know. I was supposed to be laying down. We had a dope conversation though, but yeah, I think it'll be worth it. I'm about to still lock in on some dope sleep. But yeah, I holler.
But
Dope
I
shit.
definitely appreciate having a conversation with you. You coming up on the show, because definitely this. I already said earlier. This is what I value. It becomes new ideas and new paths of novelty. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
So I
fuck with it.
appreciate you. I'll holler at you. Definitely see you around.
Right on, man.
All right. Shout out to Iota, Aaron, Flying Low, Magical Family, Shaka, BDP, Black Pill Daniels. If I missed anybody, everybody who passed through, this is Disagreeable. I'm Disagreeable. We are Disagreeable. Hit all the YouTube buttons and do that for me. All right. Peace.